Yeah, I don't even remember where I was going with that, but let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Oh, it automatically brought you over here. Awesome. Man, I'm so disappointed. I was hoping that we would have all of our new tech and everything in here today, but not today. Hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, hopefully tomorrow. We should each have our own mics. We should each have, so we'll be able to have our own mics. We will be able to be more comfortable, have control over the mic volume. We'll be able to have sound bites. We'll be able to have all kinds of stuff. I got the Rodecaster Pro. I also got I'm forgetting all the names right now of everything. But we did an upgrade on the mics and working on the background. We got the Rodecaster. We got all kinds of stuff coming. We just dropped like thousands on the true crime talk show setup. So yeah, Malia will be here soon. She's around here somewhere. So she'll be in here soon. But welcome, everybody. I was blown away by that story. Like, it blew me away. I didn't realize how far back some of that fear, concern, bias, all these things that we're worried about today with secret societies, with fraternities, with all of that. It was the same thing back then, literally identical back then. And what is scary is back then, what kicked off that third party, right? That third political party is a murder. They abducted him, literally abducted him from a police station. That amount of control is scary, is terrifying. Here, I'll text her, see where she's at. Yeah, it's terrifying. And so it made me start thinking, right? Because I wasn't even going to premiere this video originally. Yeah, we're on Twitch also. I'll go back through here and answer some questions, but we weren't going to premiere this video originally. And after it was recorded, I started thinking, has this created some sort of social bias towards fraternities, frats, secret societies, to where we're quick to believe that they did a crime, maybe they didn't, you know? And one of the things, you guys know this, for the people that have been here a while, you guys have known this, where I'm always questioning my bias, And I never trust myself in the way that I'm looking at things. And I'm always trying to find out if I have a flawed point of view, right? And so when I started digging into this, I started thinking, hey, what's going on? I started thinking, am I looking at this the wrong way? Because I personally haven't been part of a fraternity in this way. I feel like there's some weird fraternity things going on, you know, and everybody knows the Masons, everybody knows Illuminati stuff, everybody knows all these fraternities. So, you know, that's one of the topics we wanted to dig into today. And we are also going to be digging into, which falls right in line with this, the core deal. I'm going to hack this, so someone correct me, all right? Core, I'm not even going to try it.
Coeur d'Alene?
Coeur d'Alene. There we go. Coeur d'Alene. You see that? I was just trying to hold off until Malia corrected me. But we're going to dig into that too, because that is weird. The more I think about it, the more weird I feel about it, you guys. The more weird I feel about it.
Wait, are you presenting that
tonight? Yeah, we're talking about it tonight. We already did the Coeur d'Alene. That was earlier today that I was telling you about. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome Gingeroo, Dirty Clean, Borg, John, J. Ray, Elser, Riddler, LA, Sydney, Miss Kelly, Mrs. Kelly, Sarah, Riddler, Peace, Bonnie, Ian, John. I think I said Riddler twice. What's in a name? Stunt, Elser, Queen, the Queen. Yes, you found us on Twitch. Welcome, welcome. I haven't logged into Twitch in quite a while. Hey, Joanne, Bonnie. I might have said Bonnie twice too. That's okay. TC, April. If I missed you, just yell at me in the chat. Hey, Heather. Julie, Sarah, Evie. Welcome, everybody. Cheryl, Interspace, Suzanne.
My lip is bleeding right now.
Pagan Ways. Your lip is bleeding still from when I punched you?
Yeah.
From what?
I'm here, Jason. Hello. I just ripped a piece of skin off because I was impatient.
And you're probably dehydrated.
I am.
And
a little bit.
You aren't obsessed with chapstick like I am.
Yes, I am. I put chapstick on all day, every day. And the non-addictive kind that doesn't have petroleum.
Yeah, this is that kind.
Yeah, I know.
The Burt's Bees. It's like the only one that's wax.
My hair is such a mess tonight.
Jason, Tennessee. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So I hope you guys did enjoy that video, though. I enjoyed it a lot. I like the history of stuff. It helps me get a better idea and understanding of a situation, because I feel like one thing that us humans is repetitive, and there's no way around it. Like, our technology might change, things might grow and evolve, but like, we still deal with the same fears. We probably still deal with the same type of anxieties, just around, you know, different objects or things or whatever you want to call it. We still deal with bias, judgment, all of these human condition things. And it was super interesting to be able to see where that came from with fraternities. And this has to be true. There's no way it's just a story.
It's on the Smithsonian magazine or whatever website.
Yeah, all the sources are super credible sources, not to mention you had Masons that came out after they knew they were clear that they weren't going to get in trouble and literally admitted it. That book is about their admission of guilt.
Wait, they admitted to killing him?
Yes. Nobody admitted to being, in theory, the one that pulled the trigger. But they said that they took him out on a boat, tied a rock to his legs, and he conveniently blew off when they were just joking around and having fun.
He blew off the boat?
Yeah, that's literally what is admitted to.
Whoosh! Like it blew off the boat.
It's insane.
Who would believe that?
And that picture right here, you guys, I know I covered it on this one. I'll pull it up real quick, actually. So that is I'm drawing a blank. What's his name?
And I saw somebody ask how I'm feeling. I'm feeling okay. I don't know if last time you watched I was really sick or something, but I'm definitely okay.
Okay, William Morgan. That's it. Names are my greatest enemy. Wait, what was I pulling up again? Oh yeah, the William Morgan abduction. Okay, so this is open image in a new tab. Yes, so this is the actual photo recreation of his abduction, you guys. Yeah, and they had an artist paint it based on what the information that was shared of that night. So, and this is a very well-known photo for anybody that's familiar with this story. And they abducted him from a police station. So imagine the type of power they had. Okay, so I guess I'll go back a little bit. Once they realized they wanted to get rid of him, they had a police officer who was in the Masons create a false charge and charged him with stealing a shirt. I'm sorry, that was the first time. The second time, which involved this, was being arrested for a $2 loan that he didn't repay or something like that. So they arrested him, and then they transferred him 45 miles out of the city. And remember, all this is false. So everyone involved is part of this literal conspiracy.
Before you go forward, someone said, what did he do? So why did they do this to him? Why did the Masons target him?
So, yep. For people who weren't watching the video, the premiere. So he was a Mason. And when the Masons first started, here, I'll just use the imagery that I used in here.
Don't forget theater mode, so it's bigger.
I gotcha.
You just quick, like
I
what's
will.
the basis?
Okay, yeah. I'll just keep it quick. So when the Masons first started, they were just rich people. That's it. Just a bunch of rich people. And
you know what part I loved you talking about them being rich is having parades just so they could go down the street and be like, look at how awesome I am in my really expensive clothes. Like hello, everybody. I'm rich.
It's awkward feeling. Like
it's so awkward.
It would be awkward watching that and being in that.
Exactly. A whistleblower. That's what he was.
He was a whistleblower. Yep. But he was a fraternity member. He was a Mason. And right around this time, that is when they started the rituals, and this guy came in here that started all the rituals, and they started getting super weird. And based on what I was reading, it makes it sound like they were getting adult like. And William Morgan wasn't good with it, and he was like, nah, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't like that the Masons are part of this and in our government. And yes. And he got out of it and went to go create a book and put out a statement around everything, like how infiltrated they are in the local governments and things like that. And that's what started all of this, where that I think it was 466 lodge. Let me just
You're not sharing it.
Yeah. Where is that? Yeah. Okay. So Lodge 433. So it was Lodge 433, and they knew that they couldn't let him get away with it. So they set up this big conspiracy and got him arrested for a false charge, and then had him transferred 45 miles outside of the city. And then in the middle of the night, had 4 people come get him out of jail and say that they were his legal help or something like that. And as they're pulling him out of the jailhouse into the the carriage, he was yelling, "Murder, murder, murder. These guys are going to murder me." And that was the last time anyone ever saw him. So think of all of those people involved along the way, from the fake setup to, and there's even more than that. This is just his story baseline. But think of all those people, with the transfer, with the arrest, with the kidnapping, with the getting rid of him. I mean, you're at least double digits worth of people, not to mention the judges that were involved, the lawyers, doctors, politicians, everybody that was involved in this. And that's why he was trying to come out and blow the whistle on this, you know?
The carriage. You couldn't think of carriage.
Yes.
Eyes wide shut style freaky stuff.
I'm
assuming.
Look at this picture, you guys. So. Look at this picture.
If you guys haven't watched the video, you should, though, after the stream, because it's a pretty wild story.
It is wild. And this is supposed to be a recreation of their of some of the rituals and things that they're doing. Like,
what is that thing he's holding in his hand?
I have no idea. I don't know if they're branding him. I don't know if they're doing something else. Like, I don't know. But it made people uncomfortable. Whatever was going on here made people uncomfortable. And
a bunch of man-on-man stuff.
I mean, it's only men in these fraternities. So yeah.
Yeah, but you could, like, go get some women somewhere. Eyes Wide Shut did. So
I don't think women are allowed in the Mason lodges back then.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to remember that what year it is. Women didn't have rights, man. Unfortunately. So
3 victims didn't belong to the same sorority. Two did, right?
What?
It was
all of
Xana.
them.
They all were in fraternities, but Xana and Maddie were in the same sorority. Kaylee was in one of her own, and Ethan was in one of his own.
Yes.
So 2 were in the same one, and the other 2 were in different ones.
Yes. All 6 people in that house, including the survivors, are tied to Greek life. Yes.
Bethany was in Kaylee's sorority. Dylan, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
That definitely needs to be in the 4chan Fraternity Theory Part 3, where we're going to dive officially back into the story and start digging again into some of the details. Because, you know, we put out Part 1 and Part 2. This is Part 2.5, or this is 4chan Theory circa 1800s. And we're going to get back into it. We're going to dive back into it.
Yeah, Morning Stars. That's correct.
Yes. I think that's what that picture is, actually.
I had somebody in my life who was a 33rd degree Mason. He was only in my life for a few years, but he was not a good person. Now, that's not to say every Freemason isn't a good person, because I'm sure there are.
I've met really good people.
I'm sure you have. I know he is an oddity in lots of ways. But he was one of the worst people I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, sick. But he went to meetings regularly. He had a bunch of connections in, you know, this little town. And
yeah.
He was a scary person, man.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing, is when, you know, a bad person gets into a group like that, they have so many connections and abilities to keep things secret that it's terrifying.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean they're all bad.
And that's why I ended up premiering this tonight too, because while this story itself doesn't have anything to do directly with the Idaho 4 case, it absolutely has everything to do with it indirectly, because there is still this idea. I still hear creators coming out and referring to our video and information, because at least me personally, I'm not saying it's not out there, but when we were creating the 4chan theory fraternity angle, one of the things that I always go to are statistics. I love statistics. They are so reliable. People we repeat everything we do. We are so reliable. Even when we don't want to be, like, it's just who we are. We're repetitive in nature. And, I went to go pull the statistics around it, and hey, Heather, new member, awesome.
Yay.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. But I went to go pull the statistics around it, and it shows how dangerous these societies can turn for exactly what you're talking about. You know, the Masons before this time, they didn't do any rituals. They didn't have any weird criminal activity going on based on everything I could see. Now, does that mean they didn't? No, it just means it wasn't bad enough to at least have a place on the history books, right? But then that one guy entered that flipped the script and changed everything. And then you have old timers that are now feeling like they have to back what this person is doing because their allegiance is to the fraternity, not to the criminal, not to the bad person, but to the fraternity. So then when you run a correlation with that to today, is it possible you have this giant fraternity, this Sigma Chi fraternity in Moscow, and you have two sociopaths that are involved in it? Is every single brother going to feel an obligation to that person and what they did because they're in the fraternity? History says yes. History says yes. And all it takes is one or two people to commit a crime like that. That's all it takes.
Well, these really weird rituals, it sounds like there was, probably a few people who wanted to start it, and then the rest of them started going along with it. And that's interesting because A.R. Hayes just posted a video, I think it was yesterday, maybe, but he posted a video talking about like that leadership in a situation like this and situations in his past where, like, he talked about, for instance, a prison riot.
Okay.
How it can start over something so small, but then you'll have 700 prisoners rioting, and how he got hurt and everything. But he compares that to other situations, and it's a really interesting video, and I think you should watch it. But it's about the leader. If you have some kind of person who not even necessarily is the president of the situation or group, but is just a leadership type person who takes charge, and they're like a psychopath, and they're aggressive and violent, and they, a situation happens that is angering or frustrating, and they take charge to do that, people will follow them. And then it's an out of control, chaotic, violent situation. It's kind of like herd mentality a little bit. I don't know. But it was interesting hearing him talk about it from his view and his experience. And I may not be explaining it super well right now, because I'm still kind of thinking of the idea. But I feel like it's very similar in this kind of situation. It could have been one person in this fraternity to say, we can't let him do this. He will ruin us. We will be done. Our reputations, which was everything back then. That was everything. The reputation of your family, so your daughter gets married. Like, they were worried about not getting married right away, women, or else you'd be considered a spinster and nobody would want you. And then there'd be rumors about your family. It was everything. Reputation was absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So in Masonic people, they were, the men, they were of high status, so they couldn't have stuff like that happen. So when one person comes in there and is like, he's about to expose us and talk about these things, and that people aren't going to take kindly or look at this, like it's okay, like they're going to talk about us like we're going to be done in society. And then you say, we got to do this and this and this. We got to go get him. We got to, and even if they didn't say we got to kill him, it works up to that point where they're doing things that are illegal and wrong. And then, well, this is the only choice we have left. We have to kill him.
100%. And what I was going to interrupt and say is what J. Ray said, is that happens today. Like, you're using an example from back then, but that happens today. And if this happened, if 4chan is real, if the fraternity angle is real, and I think it has legs, I think it holds water, I think it is a very real possibility, then that's 100% what happened. And why the fraternity angle and secret societies are so dangerous is because you will have good guys in that fraternity not agree with these sociopaths. And look, we're going down theory path here, right? Theory.
Thank you, Tennessee. But yes, I wanted to say that. Theory.
Yeah, we're going down theory path here. But so in this situation, you will have good guys that would never do this, ever, ever, ever. Mm-hmm. But because they are a part of this fraternity, they feel like they have no other options. They are taught that they cannot depend and or call police. They are taught that they have to depend on their brothers. And this creates a very dangerous situation. And it's very easy to throw on a tin hat on this topic and be like, oh yeah, they're just, theorizing and there's no way that this is possible. Well, I think we proved otherwise in our part 2 version of 4chan with those 10 plus bodies that have dropped. There is no way that there is not a connection with the fraternity. And, I covered one topic that'll be releasing this week that's around another fraternity true crime. And it doesn't feel possible, but it got covered. It doesn't feel possible, and it didn't get let out like it should.
Yeah. I feel like how many, deaths have occurred.
This is important.
What?
No, go ahead.
It cannot be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Now, granted, a lot of it is hazing. But when you have a society and culture where it's not like fraternities don't get education on hazing. They absolutely do now, because it's such a problem and because people have called it out and been like, this cannot happen. There are tons of rules against it. They get education on it and why it's wrong, but they still do it. So when you have a culture that is okay with doing something they know could result in death,
yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I agree. And so the Borg, this is super important, super, super important, because, one of our key things is that we're going to talk about both sides of the coin. Let's talk about the possibility of this happening. Let's talk about the reasons why it can't happen. Now, in this, why would people even join frats, right? Let's give the negative statistics first here. So fraternities and or sororities, fraternity men are 300% more likely to assault someone. When I say assault, I'm covering all assaults, physical, SA, all assaults. They are 300% more likely than your average college student to assault someone. Fraternity or sorority women are 6 times more likely to get assaulted, like SA. In the Greek life, maybe I over exaggerated. Maybe it's 4 times. Will you look that up? I don't want to get that wrong. It's either 4 times or 6 times more likely sorority women to get assaulted. It's Malia's looking it up, but it's either 4 times or 6 times. And So 45% of fraternity men come out as addicts. These are real stats pulled from the .gov websites.
28.9% of sorority women have reported to have been SA'd while in college, nearly 4 times the rate.
4 times, okay, thought so.
6.8% among non-sorority members. So actually, this is saying it's more like 28%.
No, 28% of sorority women. So literally, essentially 30% of sorority women are getting assaulted. And they're 4 times more likely than an average college woman, is what that's saying. So going back to what I was talking about, I just wasn't sure if it was 6 times or 4 times. So it's 4 times more likely. Now, the addiction thing. So these are all .gov stats I'm talking about here that we talk about in 4chan 1 in our first 4chan video. So in fraternities, fraternity men, 45% of them leave college with addiction and or alcohol problems. That stat, you guys, is insane. That is like half of them. That's essentially 1 in 2. 1 out of 2 fraternity men leave college with an addiction. That's insane, you guys. That is insane. Now,
this is important too. Yes, SA is very underreported.
Exactly.
So it's definitely happening.
100%.
It's happening more than those stats show us. It's absolutely higher than that.
So why would you join a fraternity? Okay. The benefits here. Financially, okay. If you're in a fraternity, you are, I think it's 70. I could be wrong on this stat, you guys. I'm going to give it to you anyways, but I could be wrong. If you're in a fraternity, you are 70% more likely to get the job you desire right out of college. When you join a fraternity, on average, you get a 50% higher salary than somebody not in a fraternity for the same job. So if 2 kids graduated college, you have 1 non-fraternity member and 1 fraternity member apply for the same job. The fraternity member, just due to a multitude of factors, whether somebody that's on that hiring team is in that fraternity, they were suggested it by somebody else. Yeah, the connections. That person that's in a fraternity will have a 50% higher salary. That is huge, you guys. So like,
absolutely.
I've had salaries. I'm not going to share my salaries. So let's just say that someone gets hired on a job at $100,000 a year. Okay. That means for somebody that was in a fraternity would be hired on for $150,000. Like that is a massive jump in start. And
absolutely. And hey, lovely Carla.
Yes.
Welcome. So glad you're here and you've joined the community.
Welcome. Super happy to have you. Super happy to have your input, or if you just hang out and listen, welcome and glad you're here.
Hope you're feeling better, Amanda.
Now, so I went digging for these stats and I had a very hard time finding it because there are legal benefits to being in a fraternity too, right? So when you're in a fraternity, you have access to all those fraternity means. And what I mean by that is most fraternities offer their legal team. Okay. So fraternities, due to history and things like that, most of them have their own legal office. So it will be an entire office of lawyers that cover this dang fraternity. All right. And they offer offer legal assistance to their fraternity members. They also, like Sigma Chi and many others, have a risk management group. Now, not risk as in the stock market. I'm talking about when something goes wrong, they are going to minimize the social and visual risk around that information getting out, which works hand in hand with the legal office, right? Now, with tickets and things like that, how often do you think someone could get pulled over and they've been in a frat and they get pulled over by an officer who's part of a frat? And what's interesting is, so I need to do a story on this. But so we hear all these different fraternities, you guys. But what's interesting is when I was doing a deep dive into Sigma Chi has like 10 or 12 different fraternity names. Why? I don't know. I have no idea why they have all these different fraternity names. But like the one that was it Yorktown or something like that? It was like Alpha Kappa something under Sigma Chi. So why? I don't know. But I wonder how many actual international fraternities there are. Or are we hearing 100 different fraternities that all lead up to 10 main fraternities? You know what I mean?
Like these are all chapters of one fraternity. They're just they're branches.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's random though. Like you have Sigma Chi here, and here, but then you'll have like Kappa something here, and they're all Sigma Chi, but one of them is the Sigma Chi name. The other one is whatever under Sigma Chi, which is so strange. Why? Is it a loophole? Because Sigma Chi got kicked out for accountability reasons, or so-called accountability reasons, and they opened up a new chapter under a different name. Like, you know what I mean? But going back to my argument here. So say you get pulled over by a cop and you have a Sigma Chi wallet or any fraternal wallet, right? And you pull that out and that officer was in a fraternity also. Do you think you're more likely to get let go because that officer's in a fraternity and understands and is part of the Greek life, whether you're in the fraternity with the officer or not? I think yes. I think Greek life sticks up for Greek life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The entirety of Greek life.
Probably. And I saw somebody say that the sororities mainly exist for the fraternities. And from everything I've seen, yeah, they do. It's extremely misogynistic.
Super misogynistic.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, we're live. Remember the background, you guys? So this background is live. The green grass background is not live, is pre-recorded. I meant to tell everyone here too, real quick. I missed the intro, but welcome everybody. This is the one and only true crime talk show brought to you by Thought Riot Podcast. We are on everything, everywhere, all at once. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
But yeah, there's a ton of benefits here.
There's an
interesting... like a ton of benefits here to being in a fraternity. If I was in if I went to a college that had fraternities, I didn't. I went to a downtown Los Angeles college to get a degree. But if I went to a college that was like a state college or like ISP or whatever, UCLA, USC, whatever, I absolutely would have joined a fraternity, you guys. Knowing me and how I was in my 20s, I absolutely would have joined a fraternity. You're throwing at me more money. You're throwing at me the possibility of not getting in trouble when I'm essentially a psychopath at that time. You know what I mean? And women around me, and like, dude, I would be the first one. I would be the dude on the roof that's naked, jumping off, doing front flips, yelling the fraternity's name. You know what I mean?
This is an interesting statistic from TC. It has been found that 76% of U.S. senators and 85% of Supreme Court justices since 1910 have been alumni of fraternities and sororities.
Oh my gosh.
That is a crazy statistic. Absolutely insane.
Jeez.
Wild, huh? And yes, I have run across these things, Jeremiah. You are right. there are fraternities and sororities that have been involved in illegal activities of this kind.
Yeah, there
And
was a
they're terrifying.
major bust on the East Coast that involved 5 major schools, multiple different fraternities, and they were running multi-millions of dollars worth of dope. Yeah, they would have hazed me, I'm sure. But stuff like that, I was already doing anyways. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
it wouldn't have been nothing, would it?
no. Guys at that age are literally psychopaths, you guys. Like, there's just no way around it. In your late teens, early 20s, the guys that are out there that are like really good kids, I just never understood that. That just was never me. I was in trouble. I was dirt biking, jumping, drinking, smoking, doing everything I could get my hands on all at once, you know? Yeah, Animal House style. Like, it was just insane. And
So did you find it interesting at all? Because I see you guys bringing up Stacy Chapin's name. She did really support Sigma Chi, like it heavily in her interview, talking about how supportive they were, which I'm glad she feels that way. But do you think that
they're paying for her other son's school, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad the family feels supported and they're, getting on with their lives and doing okay. I'm glad that they're okay, but as okay as they can be in this situation. But do you think that that's the case, that they got to the family, Ethan's family, early on to like really,
yeah,
like if okay, this is all theory still. If Sigma Chi or people within that fraternity had something to do with this, like, did they get close to Ethan's family intentionally to, run a narrative, spin a narrative early on and make them feel supported and everything? Like, I don't know. Maybe
so
probably if they're involved, absolutely. If they're not involved, then I mean, they're just being supportive. But I do look at that and I'm like, interesting.
So I don't know. I do know that families that are part of Greek life, I think the stat was like 80 something % of them stay in Greek life, meaning if your dad or ma was in a fraternity or sorority, 87 or 86 or something like that % of the time, you're going to follow those footsteps. Now, in a situation like this, when it comes down to life, I think that the only way we would know, at least for someone like myself who has never been in a fraternity of this style, I've just never been there. And, there's a very good reason. There's a scientific reason to hazing that I think a lot of people miss. And I feel like it is also the flaw that when people look at a frat, they're like, oh, those are just dumb college kids drinking and partying and everything. No, actually, they are using a scientific method of trauma bonding to create a bonded response that is going to transcend everything else in life, including law enforcement, life, and anything within our normal socially accepted standards. And it's proven to work. 100%. It is proven to work. When you're trauma bonded, that is some of the tightest bonding you will ever have in your entire life. So, were they part of the Greek life already? So, they look at this from a biased perspective where, I mean, everybody knows those parents that, like, my parents were one of them, right? I had my parents in my life and they were good parents and everything, but I was the troublemaker. You know what I mean? I was the one that, when people that are parents that are listening on here, that bad kid that you don't want your kids hanging out with. I was that bad kid. That was me. I was the trouble, and my parents did not want to see it, dude. When it came to me, blinders on 100%. Is it a situation like that where, because they were a part of that Greek life, do they have bias blinders on?
Yeah. So Paige said that they were in the Greek life.
Makes sense.
And it is a little odd that they, so quickly felt comfortable dropping the, the remaining triplets back off at, Ethan's brother and sister back off at school very early on. They felt safe to do that. I almost wondered, though, do you think it's that the fact that the Chapins stayed so quiet and are refusing to release any details is why the police, I mean, not why, but maybe the police felt more comfortable giving them more information than they were giving the Gonzalez family, because the Gonzalez family was out talking like nonstop. So maybe the Gonzalez family got cut off, and the Chapins have had like an inner line, like inner connection, and getting told more.
Or how many people in the police force are fraternity members,
and they know that the Chapins are fraternity and they trust each other.
Absolutely.
They don't talk.
Just to be clear, you guys, I want to be so painfully clear. I in no way, shape, or form think that the Chapins would ever know that a fraternity had something to do with Ethan's death and like try and help hide it or cover it up. That is not the angle I'm going after right here. I'm thinking if this is possible and they aligned themselves with the fraternity, it's more because of bias blinders on, right? The biased life blinders on of, you know what, we were in fraternities and sororities and it was some of the best time of our life and it helped us with our career, and we still have brothers and sisters in the Greek life that we're close to now, and there's just no way that they could do that to a fellow brother. You know what I mean? And when in reality, in their time in the Greek life, they probably just didn't have a sociopath in their house, All it takes is one sociopath, you guys. Like, I'm talking true sociopath. I know I called myself a sociopath in my late teens and 20s, but I mean a for real sociopath, somebody that doesn't have connection with normal human emotion, right? That doesn't look at the world in the same way, that can't connect to people in the same way, and can very easily take a human life.
Yeah.
Word.
Agreed. You have an eyelash on your cheek. It's bugging me.
Don't you get like a wish when you have an eyelash?
Yeah, but you're supposed to press it to somebody else's finger.
I don't think so.
Make a wish, and then you remove your finger, and then whoever's finger it's stuck to, your wish gets granted.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, agreed. Thanks, Amanda. I am not always mad.
Siblings. Yeah, no, I get that, and I understand where the concern is, but look, when I'm talking about fraternity bonding and that trauma bonding, there's one thing that I think will always be bigger than all of that, and that is that connection of a child. I just, unless you're Dexter, right, there is nothing in the world that will more than likely be more important than a connection with a child. And I think even more so for mothers who have grown that child in them. I think there is a certain connection there that men don't have. Men's connection starts building from the time of birth on, and women starts way before that, 9 months before that. So I just don't think, I think it's easier for somebody to willingly not look at something, right? Because imagine that amount of trauma. You not only lost your child, but your entire world, your entire college history, people that you've been friends with for your entire life that are connected to the Greek life, like that would probably flip their entire universe. They probably wouldn't know what to do with themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you, Cozy. And Beetlejuice. But yeah, I feel for the family. I really do. You know, it's hard in this situation, you know. I don't ever want to like shed a negative light on them. I think that they're doing the best they can. If, you know, the fraternity was involved in any way, I don't think they know it.
I don't even know if the whole fraternity knows it.
Right.
When I say fraternity involvement, just to be very clear again, I think it could just be a few people.
Yeah.
A couple, one person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really do. I think there's some worth to the 4chan messages talking about 4 people on there. And remember, you know what's interesting, you guys, is it talks about 4 people in there, okay? That was before the video of the 4 people running by were found. There are too many connections. Like it doesn't make sense.
I know.
Too many things are lining up. And it doesn't require the entire fraternity to know. It's just like the argument I have around I'm drawing a blank. The prosecutor, Bill Thompson. A lot of people look at what Bill Thompson is doing and who he is and everything and think he's so shady, like the worst person ever. Now, lawyers are supposed to be good faith, right? But lawyers can also choose to not know information, because then legally it's supposed to be brought up and things like that. So there's this legal loophole. I forget what it's called right now. What's that called?
Gosh, I still can't remember it. I couldn't remember it in the podcast last night when we were recording, and I still can't.
Gosh, what is that called? Choosing not to know information.
Like, yeah, don't tell me or else I will be...
I have to legally say something. Yeah.
What is that term?
Yeah, plausible deniability.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Jeremiah. Thank you. So plausible deniability. I think it's much more likely, right? Because Bill Thompson has had a pretty solid career. And I understand there's a flip side too. I understand he could be dirty and manipulative and all these things too. I get that. But I also think there's a real possibility he could be doing his job and doing it right, and trustworthy stand up and plausible deniability at play here.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. Now everyone's chiming in. Plausible deniability.
No, I'm glad.
I'm glad, because we have both been trying to remember that term, and I don't know why I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I mean, that does happen. We already know it for a fact. I've heard multiple lawyers online talk about it too. That they will, you know, a prosecutor will choose not to ask certain things, or, you know, ask them not to turn over certain things, or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's some kind of relationship there with, you know, investigators, and plausible deniability is a very real thing in the court system. Unfortunately, it's super wrong. It's super, super wrong.
I mean, it is wrong. So,
but it's very normal.
We just covered a topic that will come out tomorrow, but these guys were put away for 36 years. For 36 years. And you know the reason why they were put away for 36 years? Because the prosecutor cared about their close rate. They got charged with a murder because they cared about the close rate.
Did you say which case that was?
No, everyone will see it when it comes out. But that is awful.
It's breaking news, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's breaking news, but
true crime breaking news. It's a clip that'll come out soon.
Yep. But these guys got put away for 36 years.
They were teenagers.
They were teenagers, came out as grandparents because the close rate was important. And there was evidence against them doing it. An eyewitness statement and an actual physical proof and evidence that they didn't do it. But the court didn't want to have to go through a trial again. That is so insane. That is so absurd.
It is. It absolutely is. 70 to 80% of wrongful convictions are due to an eyewitness. Well, in the case Brennan's talking about, they had an eyewitness to the opposing side where, proving these people were innocent, and they chose to omit it.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, dude. Eyewitnesses are the most unreliable thing, but eyewitnesses should be used as like a fishing line. You know what I mean? Where this eyewitness, okay, well, let's see if we can verify this eyewitness's statement. Let's see what we can find. Not hinge an entire case on an eyewitness statement. That sounds so insane to me.
Close rate means how the percentage of cases that the prosecutor wins.
Yeah.
He cared about that being high, that percentage being high, his close rate, how many cases he's won. And he chose to omit, not include exculpatory evidence, including an eyewitness, and got these teenagers sentenced to over 30 years. I think you said 36 years, and they came out elderly, old, lost their lives.
Yeah, lawyers are in the wrong profession, or they're in the wrong area of the justice system if they're prosecutors who care about a close rate. That's just like gross. I feel like there should be a way to keep their close rate from them, because ultimately, if you're a defense attorney or you're a prosecutor, your goal should be the truth, right? Isn't that obvious? Like blatantly obvious?
Yeah, human memory is Amanda's saying that she was unreliable in her own case, and human memory is not very reliable, and that's absolutely true.
There's this idea out there that every time you remember a memory, you're remembering the memory of a memory.
Right.
So, like, a good example is if you took a drawing, okay? And you took a drawing and you then redrew that drawing again. And then you redrew it from that one again. And then redrew it from the next one again. And you just copied from the previous one before it. If you look at the most recent redrawing and the first drawing, it will be way different, way different. Shadowing will be different. The line work, like a lot of different things will be different. And that is supposedly how the human mind works, to create it that unreliable.
That's crazy.
Now think of memories you guys have that you remember on a daily basis that are important to you, whether they're traumatic, whether they're positive, whether they're, no matter what they are, those important memories to you. Think of how many times you've remembered those memories.
Exactly.
And every time your mind is changing it just a little bit into your favor, because no one wants to remember things negative. They want to remember things positive, you know?
Right.
So your mind is going to try and help you along here and just adjust it a little more positive and a little more positive and a little more positive until all of a sudden you have like a glowing rainbow of a memory, and it's not true to that first one, you know?
Yeah. You're re-encoding.
Crazy.
You're re-encoding memory each time you remember it.
Right.
That's crazy.
I know. The connections to computers in life is just insane. It is insane with the human mind and how the human mind works similarly to a computer, the numerology in the world, how it works similarly to a computer. You know what I mean? Like it's wild. It is wild.
Yeah, that's not technically true, Jay Ray. I can remember what an apple looks like. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Which is weird.
Like I know what an apple looks like. I can remember that. I just can't see it in my head.
Which is so strange because I can juggle 3 apples in my head and see all of them with differences on all of them. Like I'm doing it right now as we're talking. Weird. I just dropped one.
I've always wondered, are there some kind of exercises I can do with my brain to like strengthen that? Like, can I fix it at least a little bit? No, I have I have Aphantasia, which is it's a scale, but I'm pretty far on the scale where it's pretty much black in my head. I can only see flashes of things in my head, but I can't visualize anything. I learned about it after watching an artist that said she had aphantasia and she has to have like a physical thing to look at to be able to create art. And I was like, whoa, that's totally me. And so I'm not normal. Like people can actually see things in their head. Cause like I had done a few exercises as a kid where they're like, close your eyes. Imagine you're on a beach somewhere nice, and I'm like looking around. Is everyone into this? Can I see this? And I didn't think it was just me. I thought everybody was the same. Because nobody ever actually said, yes, I can see it in my head. Like, for real. Like, I just didn't know.
That's so... And I find it so strange because I am on the opposite side, you guys. I feel like my memory or imagination is so strong, I can almost make myself feel physical things to it. Like being on a beach and being able to feel the wind, I can see everything and feel everything. So
look, Kimmy,
it's super strange. And
Kimmy's the same, Paige is the same.
Yeah, I think we did a test on here a while ago, some weeks ago.
Oh, that's
and someone was new on here, said hello.
Where?
Somebody hopped on here. But hello if we missed it.
I will put in the thought bubble. I should be able to do it tomorrow. I've been really backed up on working on the content. So
weekends are the worst.
The weekends are the worst, but I will absolutely get it up tomorrow.
So we record on Fridays.
But sorry about that, Anne. I'll do it. Thought bubble.
We record on Fridays and then straight up like 20 hours of editing straight on Saturday. And Sunday also, depending on how much is left, but we try and get it all done.
I do have like an inner voice. Yeah, I do. I guarantee it's not as vivid as other people's though, but I do.
Yeah. All right.
And I dream, which is a thing that doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't know how I can dream when I can't see things in my head. It's super strange.
It is strange.
I can hallucinate too. So
yeah.
Strange, huh?
Yeah, that is super weird. Then what happens when you take like a hallucinogen?
What do you mean?
Can you all of a sudden see?
Yeah, I can.
No way.
But you know what? I've never tried to think of an apple and I wonder if I take, now that's an experiment. If you're on hallucinogens and you have aphantasia, can you like visualize the way you could if you're a normal person?
That is super strange. Because one thing mushrooms do, you guys, for those of you that are out there, mushrooms do something that no other chemical can do. And it brings back your brain cells. There is nothing on earth that can bring back brain cells. I don't remember if it actually grows them again or if it just creates the same effect by making them bigger, but it repairs brain, a loss of brain cells. It's really interesting stuff. Like, I have been so blown away by mushrooms, like so blown away. There is something there that science can't touch, which is strange. Science can do everything.
And that's absolutely right, by the way. It's not a disability or anything. It's just the way your brain processes things. And I can remember things better in my head. Like, I can get more flashes if I just looked at it. Like, I can see it a little better, but still, it's like barely a flash. Like, it's like hardly anything. It's super weird.
That is weird. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then we should talk on the cult area.
If I close my eyes, yeah, we can do that. If I close my eyes while tripping, what do I see? Well, it clearly depends on the dose, but okay, I'll just describe one right now. That was super strange and has stuck in my head. And it was a painting. Like, imagine like one of those old school, like Da Vinci type paintings or something. I don't know. There's another artist I'm trying to remember the name of. I can't remember right now. But like big muscly men in that weird beigey tone that they used to paint them in, almost like a sculpture, like with their hands outstretched with like a finger pointed like this. And both of them are on opposite sides of each other, and their fingers are pointed at each other, like almost touching, and they're almost in like space, like outer space, and they're floating closer and closer together, like about to touch, and all around them throughout space and time is war. It's just war everywhere, like little people like us, like just people fighting and fighting and fighting, and it almost felt like they're all just fighting to survive. Is like it's about the emotions really that was running through me as watching it, that it felt it was all moving so slow, almost like you're looking at time and people and what's going on as God. Like, that's what it felt like. And it just felt like absolute chaos. Like, absolute chaos was going on in the universe. But it was super impactful, and it had me thinking about for days about space and time and history and, collective consciousness, because if I believe in anything, I believe in that. But it was really interesting. The Sistine Chapel. Is it? Okay, now I gotta look it up. Thank you for calling that out. I'm actually super happy I talked about that. But yes, my eyes were closed, and that's what I was visualizing. So I can definitely see things with my eyes closed when I'm on a hallucinogen, but when I'm not, there's nothing. And it's not necessarily under my control, though. Like, I'm not controlling that. It's just happening. Or if I am, it's subconscious. I've always thought something was wrong with me because I have no memory of my childhood at all. I do have memories from my childhood. Actually, I have incredible memories from being like a toddler and a baby, which doesn't really make sense. I think, not saying this is you or anything, but a lot of people who don't have any memory of their childhood, either that part of your brain developed later on than most people, or it's trauma. But for me, I have memories that are super vivid of very early on in life. And I told a psychiatrist that once, because I tried to prove it to myself, like that they're real memories. Like, I went and asked my parents about them and stuff. And they're like, wait, yeah. How do you remember that? That doesn't, because they didn't like tell me stories of it or anything. They're random little nothing days, like where something happened and it wasn't important to anyone but me, apparently. But yeah, it's super strange.
Okay, so Coeur d'Alene, right? Did I say that right? Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, I have memories that go super far back, but a psychologist told me that that part of my brain that stores memory, I don't remember what it's called, probably developed earlier in me than most people. I don't know that it has anything to do with aphantasia, though. I'm guessing it doesn't.
Okay, so let's get on Coeur d'Alene. All right. So what is it? Here, let me.
That's true, CH. Most people's are. But I think my memory is stronger when I remember smells and feelings. That's what, I don't know. That's what always stands out in my memories is like smelling something or feeling something.
Where is?
Not necessarily like seeing it. What are you looking for? Oh, okay.
What did I do with that? Actually, did I put it in? There we go. Okay.
What?
All right. So, Coeur d'Alene. Now, the first time this was brought up was actually in Drip Drop's video. And I had never heard of the place before. It had never been brought up in the Idaho 4. Oh, that's weird. On this thumb, it didn't include the highlight around you.
It's the Michelangelo painting. Thank you for bringing that up, CH. Now I'm super curious.
So, are we moving on?
Yes, we're moving on.
What?
We are.
Okay.
We are.
So,
sorry.
The first time this got brought up was in the Crime Circus video. And I had never heard about this before. Have you heard about it?
No.
And
definitely not.
Apparently, there is a ton of locals and a ton of people that know this area as a cult area. Now, I'm not going to go into those specific cults this time. We have evidence of some stuff, some funky stuff, which I didn't think there was anything. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Nada. And then I went looking and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is here. I cannot believe this is here. So just keep an eye out on that. And what?
Go ahead.
And so as we were looking into it, though, you came across this shooting, right? Give the rundown on the shooting.
So recently, I saw basically something happening in, what was the town name? It's Spirit Lake, Idaho, which is in the same county as Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County. And I first saw it when it said there was an officer involved shooting going on. Now there was no information. It just said the block that it was on. Remember, I think we had a hard time finding it afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was Crim 2 that had I have some links. Do you want me to send you a link?
Yeah. Send me a link.
Okay.
Real quick. But
basically what happened was it was an elderly lady in like a retirement apartment kind of place, like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And she's not alive anymore, and they won't say if a police officer shot her.
Police involved shooting.
But they're saying it's a police involved shooting. One officer has been put on like paid leave while they're investigating. And apparently she was alone in the home, and she's a very elderly lady who could not walk hardly without holding on to somebody. So it seems very strange, like very, very, very strange. But let me get this article so we can pull it up, because I did find one that they had a press conference where they said nothing. Like they literally wouldn't give out anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Kopaka situation, but honestly, we had a little bit more on Kopaka than we have on this.
Yeah, absolutely. And this shooting alone is strange. Now, on top of it, with all the cult information, I'm going to show you guys one of the things that Drip Drop included in his video of the supposed cults in this area, because this is strange. This is so strange. The Ammon Bundy cult campaign thing, like if I understand this is supposed to be like targeted at woke and that whole thing. It's essentially, it's a declaration that, hey, I'm a Republican. Bam. You know what I mean? I get it. I'm not going to go into politics. I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not going to do anything. But the fact that that area is known for being cult-y, having secret societies, having gangs, taking part in this in some way, and then you put out a campaign video around cult stuff, it's really strange. It is really, really, really strange. I felt weird about it. So let me know how you guys feel about it. I want Malia to see it, so I'll wait to play it. We won't play the music behind it because of the music, but it is so weird, you guys. So weird. And we have found some stuff in the area, for real stuff.
All right, I got the articles here now.
Okay, send it to me, and then we'll play this, and you'll see how strange this is. Yeah, Moscow is and Idaho is a very red state. Yeah.
That's why people keep bringing up Twin Peaks, by the way, is that this whole area is just very strange.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this, as a campaign video, it feels strange. It feels like, what is going on here? I don't know if it was just done as a joke. I don't know. I don't. Is it the fact that he's leaning into this idea? Like, yeah, you know, we're known for cult stuff. Let's lean into that. I don't know, but it makes me feel weird. Yes, Beetlejuice, exactly. Idaho used to be known for potatoes, not anymore, and we appreciate that. That super chat. Man, I can't wait for the new tech to be in with the microphones. It should make the show.
Yeah, it should make things a lot cleaner, better. It should be awesome.
Yep. We will each have mics and their upgrades vocally, big upgrades.
I sent it.
Okay. All right, so check this video out. All right, everyone ready? This is what was he going for? Was it governor? Yeah, so this is his governor campaign video. Ready?
Okay.
Is everyone ready? So no sound, remember? Watch, you got to watch this.
What'd that say?
If you can hear me, is there anyone out there? And there's just music behind this, so we aren't missing anything.
Keep Idaho, Idaho?
Yeah, look. What? What? So strange, dude.
Yeah, it's... I already know the angle of it, though.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they are making fun of far leftists.
With this area, though, that's like, was that the best idea?
Super dumb.
This video is 100% going to make people think like, hey, this is an undertone of there being real cults in the area, and this is like an ode to them. This is a politician. Like, this isn't a YouTube personality. This is a politician.
Can you tell the difference anymore? Not really.
For sure. For sure.
That was dumb.
I agree. It's dumb. But this is a politician. Look at the quality of this video.
The quality is pretty superb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They paid a lot of money for this.
Yeah, we're not going to get too political, but I agree. Leftists are not liberals. There's a difference. There is. But it doesn't matter in this situation, I guess. It's just interesting he went that route.
It is interesting he went that route.
He's just, it's just drawing more on the extremes, I guess.
I mean, is it though?
Yes,
coming at it from the drip drop angle, is it? Or is it intentionally bringing up the imagery of cults? What's he wearing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What, does anyone know what this is?
Yeah, I mean, he was very serious because a lot of people in his party, you know, him specifically, I've heard just arguments like that the things they were burning in this fire, okay, those topics, those things all come from some kind of agenda, and it's a non-Christian one. And I'm assuming that's kind of the play here, is they're like, it's satanic almost, to that they're trying to ruin our country kind of thing. But it is interesting he went down that route. Like, he could have done something totally different to get that point across, but he went down the route of them out on a road in Idaho in robes, burning stuff at a fire.
Yeah. With a George Washington booklet.
Well,
George Washington was notoriously the first Mason to hit that, what is it, 33 degree?
It's the Constitution, but yes, he was. He was very big in yes, the Mason fraternity stuff.
Yeah, so I'm pointing out all the things that people are pointing out within this video. Yes, obviously, this is the Constitution booklet, but why didn't they throw in a Constitution? Why did they throw in something that is labeled George Washington?
Yeah.
Because this isn't the Constitution.
That you typically
This is something that says the Constitution of the United States, George Washington.
Oh, I have a Constitution. Should I grab it?
No.
No?
No, we don't need it.
It's the one that, like, you have to go out of your way to get that one, because the one that you typically get looks the way the one I have.
Yeah. I would hope everyone knows what the Constitution looks like.
You think most people have a copy of the Constitution?
They know what it looks like. You're taught about it in like every school.
Yeah, they show it to you on like scribes. They don't show it to you typically as the booklet that you can buy now.
Yeah.
They show you the original.
But I think that they're leaning into the cult idea here intentionally.
In Idaho intentionally?
I mean, this video intentionally. What do you mean in Idaho intentionally? What are you talking about?
Somebody just said they'd like to see my Constitution.
So what are you talking about in Idaho?
Like, he's going to be the governor, or he's running for governor.
Yeah, but what does that have to do
with? Because we're talking about the whole Coeur d'Alene. Is there some kind of thing going on there type thing. So you think he's leaning on specifically what's going on in Idaho with that? Not just the political climate across the U.S., but specifically...
I don't think this has anything to do with politics if you're looking at it from the tin hat perspective. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think this is him saying, hey, I am part of a cult, and if you're backing me as governor, you know what we can do. It's an ode to cultists.
Even though he looks like he's fighting the cultists in this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because again, why would you put George Washington in here? Again, this is theory, you guys, and I'm playing from the argument of the tin hat side of things. Why would you put this Constitution in there with one of the most known cultists in all of history?
Yeah.
Why not just the Constitution?
Right. I'm gonna go grab my Constitution, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back. I'll be quick. I know exactly where it is.
Yeah, George Washington is notoriously like one of the most... Here. It's like one of the most famous Mason pictures is George Washington building the Mason temple. Interesting, right? I think it's super interesting looking at it from that perspective. Do I think there's worth there? More than likely, it's something more explainable. But it is strange because it doesn't need, like, I get the connections, you know? I see them. And the only thing that I'm asking is, whoever created this video, are they smart enough to have those undertones of things like this for tin hat people, or is there something more to it?
That's the Constitution. Of course, it's all silver, so...
I gotta get out of the frame so it picks it up.
That's what it looks like when you buy a copy, normally. Did everybody see the Constitution? But yeah, that's what it looks like when you get a normal copy of it. It doesn't have George Washington on it. Actually, there's no mention of George Washington in the Constitution that I'm aware of.
No, there's not.
So, I mean, it was written pre-George Washington. Oh, your pocket Constitution was free? That's nice. I had to pay $8 for this. It still has the price on the back.
From when?
$7.98.
Like, when was that?
I don't know the year that I bought it. It was a long time ago. It had to have been at least 10 years ago. All right. But this picture is kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think this stairway with the girl laying down here means?
I have no idea. We've seen it multiple times.
The ladder with this person laying on the ground like they're dead or something.
So this is just one picture of many. Watch.
I got the Constitution from, I think, Barnes and Noble. I think is where I got it when I used to hang out at Barnes and Noble a lot. They do give the Constitution away for free, but, you know, you can't just go to, I don't think, to a government building and get it typically, which is kind of messed up. What are you looking for?
This.
Oh, yeah, that picture.
Yeah.
So what did you want to point out in this picture?
The people laying in the steps. You pointed out the girl.
Yeah, the kids.
What does that mean? What kind of connection?
Can you tell what she's picking up? Are those flowers? Is it scraps?
I don't know.
I think it's flowers. Like she's throwing flowers at his feet.
Jacob's ladder can. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but we see that a lot, right? And the imagery is definitely interesting. And
yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. So going back to that video, I think that there's one of two options here. Somebody was smart enough that made this video to have a multi-layer tone here of cult, right? So you're making a video about cults with an undertone of cults. It's super unlikely. I barely ever see anybody that has that kind of intentionality around video creation and content creation, but someone either is doing that or there's really something here. Those are the only options I can come up with.
Yeah, I wanted to say real quick, that picture of George Washington with the stairs and the kids, that was a part of his National Masonic Memorial.
Yeah.
I don't know that it says where exactly he was or anything, but it was like a Masonic memorial for him, which is interesting too. The imagery in that, and it being specifically about Masons.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are we pointing that out? What does that have to do with this part?
Because I just thought it was interesting, because it could just be a picture of him, you know, like at some kind of thing, you know, like a speech, like but it's literally a picture that's like memorializing him as a Freemason.
Yeah. All these pictures are created after George Washington's time. So when George Washington was part of the Masons, there actually wasn't any rituals or secretism to it yet. That was pre-1820, whatever it was, during this time here.
Well, it's just interesting because the imagery used to memorialize him as a Freemason is going to be intentional, surrounding whatever, you know, the beliefs are in Masonry is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like everything that's in that picture is intentional.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just like somebody painting it while looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is happening right now. He's giving a speech. It's not that. It's a painting after to memorialize him as a Mason. Yeah,
I get what you're saying now. So what you're saying is, and again, that literally plays into my point then.
Yeah,
that you know, if you're part of these secret society, if you're a part of these fraternities, right? Because they're all fraternities, and that was the original word used for them. It's interesting though that we have some separation from fraternity and secret society now, though, when really they're literally the same thing. All secret societies are fraternities, but not all fraternities, you know what I mean? Like they are all fraternities. That's what it is. And there is clearly some kind of connection to fraternities and George Washington in this way, whether it's just a Masonic connection or not, which is going back to my original statement that I think there's only one or two options with this video. Either somebody is intentional and smart enough to create a multi-layered video here, where they make it about cults, but then also simultaneously have an undertone about cults, like possibly what's around their necks and the fact that there's an ode to George Washington here when there doesn't need to be to represent the Constitution of the United States, you know?
Absolutely.
I'm curious what's around their neck.
And, you know, I keep this Constitution here at the studio intentionally because, like, there's been some instances in, you know, cases that I have to look, you know, when we're talking about law and everything. Like, it's important in a lot of true crime cases to know what, you know, your rights are, and the rights of the victims or the rights of the defendants.
Never know.
So I like to look back on my Constitution. I think it's important for everyone to have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Everybody should.
Because I
But we
literally
have the
never
internet.
know.
We have the internet now too, though. But
Yeah,
the hard copy I think is important to have because it can't be changed. It can't be altered in any way.
Yeah.
So having this hard copy is important.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to look up online definitions and compare it with my hard copy that's pretty old.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Hopefully they'd be the same. I would hope so.
People with ADHD, I know we have quite a few in here, which is funny. It's funny because I have such a severe case of ADHD, and I wonder if that makes people with ADHD like relate to me, and that's why we have a lot of viewers that have ADHD because their mind bounces the same mind does.
So they can follow along.
Right. So they're like everyone with ADHD is like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I got it, you know, and everyone else is just lost. But what? Go ahead.
I saw someone said always have a hard copy, and I was literally just looking this up before we hopped on stream, and I wish I saved these videos. I'm tempted to put all videos that come out on cases that are relevant on a hard drive because
all of ours are on a hard drive.
Not ours. Other videos of people that like court hearings that you know.
Yeah.
Well, Bicka Barlow testified that day in court when Steve Mercer,
you know
how
Vargas, hard it was for me to find
Leah
that.
Larkin. Bicka Barlow also testified, but guess what? It's been scrubbed from the internet. Her part of it, specifically Bicka Barlow's part, which
I found it, but it was hard.
Those videos our video that's going to come out is going to be talking about her declaration, and there's also been a Get a Clue video about it, but we go over it in the podcast that we just covered last night. And I went looking because I wanted a picture of her on the stand. I also wanted to re-listen to her statement, and I didn't find it. It's been scrubbed. Court TV deleted it. Law and Crime deleted it. Everywhere that offers that, you know, the court videos, and it was everywhere in the beginning. But now, all of a sudden, it's gone.
Yeah.
They specifically deleted Bicka Barlow's statement. Only her and Gabriel Vargas. Yeah. Them two, you cannot find anymore on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Bringing it back from Tin Hat Land, right? Because to play that other side, to think that cases don't play by media is just absurd. If I was a lawyer today, that would be my primary target, would be trial by media. That's the smartest thing to do. That's going to get you the most leeway, and trial by media is going to cause content creators and other people to start talking about it. You're also probably going to get famous people talking about it and all kinds of stuff. All there is upside and benefits from a trial by media. If you're a defense attorney, dude, I would be trial by media every single time. I would make everything transparent and put everything out there and be talking to stations as much as I could, because whoever is doing that is going to start with a leg up in the trial. So I don't put down the prosecution for doing it. I think it's kind of shady that they're asking for everything to be gagged while simultaneously convicting by media. But I get it, right? I get it. I can connect those dots, you know, and I don't remember what my point was with that, but I did have a point.
As long as we know it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Mike, that's a good call out. The conservatives have equated wearing face masks with liberalism. Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
It's really interesting to think how things would have went if things were different. Trying to say that without getting too political.
Yeah.
If things went a different way. But it doesn't really matter to me either way, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just don't have much trust in the higher ups anymore, to be completely honest. I trust lower level a lot more. I trust police more than I trust the highest up, to be honest.
I think here's the issue though, okay? And I don't really want to go down this road. It is just politics.
I know.
I'm obsessed with politics, but I don't really want to go down this road. Let me think if I can do it without picking a side here. Okay, so
thank you, CH. I saw you. Thank you.
Okay, I can do it without making any claims, because I'm not picking any side. That's my life isn't this or that. So I think there's this idea out there right now where a lot of media sources are either anti-government or anti the ideas of our politicians so seriously that it's making people get turned off from politics and government. When, in my opinion, I think that it should be doing the opposite, because our politics, our freedoms, and our government is nothing without the people. There's this idea out there that overall, we don't own them, the people, and the people owns them. We are allowed to call them out. We are allowed to hold them accountable. We're allowed to make content about them. We're allowed to say that our police officers suck. We're allowed to say our justice system sucks. We're allowed to call it however we feel, because that is what our rights and freedoms were created on. It doesn't matter what side you're from. If you're American and you like being American, if you like your freedoms, then we all should be a part of these systems to keep control of it. When we get frustrated and disconnect from all of these systems, then we lose control of it. It's not doing anything for anybody. So in these situations, I feel like when we see something we don't like, that should be our cue and key to push harder and get more involved, not less involved. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think that was a great way to put it. Absolutely. That's why I really don't like in a lot of situations when it comes to, certain cases that people say, well, you think you have any right to any truth? You think you have any right to that information?
I know, I hate that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think I do.
Own it.
Yeah. Anyone who pays taxes in this country has the right.
We own the police. We own the court system. We own the politicians. We own the judges. They are ours.
But that's where, once it's not that anymore, once we are owned and told that, we have to accept what is being given to us, the crumbs that are given to us, and we can't speak on it, that's when you are no longer a democracy. You're no longer free country. You're not a free country anymore. Like, that is the singular right that we have to uphold to not let our country completely go down the toilet.
Yeah, I agree.
Singular right to be able to have freedom of speech, to be able to make change, to do whatever we need to do to make change in the systems. That's
and the two parties.
The one thing.
I agree with you that the two-party system is. You can be a part of that party, but ultimately we are a party of the same thing. We are all citizens. We are all American people. That should come before the importance of a two-party system. And the only way we keep control of that is by becoming more involved. Even if there's even if you're standing next to someone that you don't believe the same beliefs that they do, that's fine, because my freedoms are more important than calling you wrong for your beliefs. You know what I mean?
That was the whole point in the beginning, though, was to have people of different beliefs coming together, making a better country. Like, that's literally the foundation of it. So I think multiple parties makes the most sense. It definitely makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And I hope we move towards that. I really do. Because what's also odd is you have these two parties that have multiple factions.
I know.
It's like, what's the point of that?
Maybe put more parties is better, maybe not. I don't know. The only
I see
thing
it working in other places in the world. It works in a lot of other places in the world.
Yeah, the only thing I know is that what's going to keep our freedoms is us being involved in these situations, you know, is going out there and doing the voting. Like, you know how tired I get of hearing people say, like, go vote, go vote, go vote. You know, that's the last thing in the world that I want to hear. But most people are selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that. We should all be selfish in a way where we have our stuff together in such a good way, secure way, that we're able to offer ourselves to others too, you know. And I want my freedoms. I need those freedoms. They matter to me. So it makes me want to go actively take part in these things, you know. Yeah. Whatever they are.
Well, voting local, honestly, is the most important, because that's where all of them get their start. If you want honest, good politicians, you have to start at the local level.
Yeah.
If they never get voted into office, they can never go on to become a senator and a president.
Yeah.
So local is the absolute most important. Nominating people who are honest and will do the right thing and, you know, actually work for the people.
Yeah,
and what they want. Like, that's what you have to look at and vote for those people.
Yeah.
But yeah, plumbing, that's a fantastic point, and it's absolutely true. They all rub elbows, they all tear each other apart, and then go hang out and get a drink.
What's on his back window? Can anyone tell what that is?
Was there ever a closer shot of it? Like in the beginning when he's driving? Is that where he's driving up?
I don't know.
Yeah, that is where he's driving up.
Let me see.
Yeah,
there's just something like super big on his back window.
Yeah.
What is that? That's so strange.
Watch it be a big Freemason symbol. Bumper sticker type thing.
What does the other sign say?
Oh man, you got a slow-mo. Slow-mo is always the answer for these things.
What does that sign say? Over there.
Visitors will be or violators will be chased out.
No,
is what that says under the Keep Idaho, Idaho. Slow-mo and zoom. Brendan always says he can't zoom on this though.
So this sign over here says something about we see all, no potatoes.
What? It's talking about potatoes?
It says no potatoes. Something about seeing all. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. I think it says no. I feel like it says shooting on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I feel like it's not slow-mo enough.
Yeah, it does say no shooting. It says private property. Stay off Mall Road. Stay off Small Road. No shooting.
Here.
What?
I wanted to highlight her comment real quick because absolutely, that is what we learned. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what is this?
It's not slow-mo enough.
Okay. Hold on.
Can you zoom?
No.
Dang. In the mobile app, you can zoom super well. It's too blurry.
Yeah.
But just hit play. Maybe it'll pop up again. He does have a big old bumper sticker. Oh, I bet we could zoom it in right there when it got dark, when you passed the sign. If we had zoom.
What? I didn't even see it.
Right there. Or no, was it a little before that? Right.
Yeah. It's still blurry.
I am curious what it says, though.
Yeah, I don't eat any potatoes that grow in dirt.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
You eat potatoes, and they all grow in dirt.
Not the kind I eat.
So what, they're grown in water, like hydroponics? Hydroponic potatoes?
What is that? That has like arrows.
They may throw potatoes while chasing you instead of shooting. I love potatoes too. Potatoes are the best.
Yeah, I don't know what that sign is. Can anyone identify that?
Can you?
Exactly, Dirty Clean. I only eat ones that grow from trees.
Can you consume hydroponic potatoes in other ways?
Mm-hmm.
Hit play. Let's see if the truck pops up anywhere else.
I'm trying to now identify this.
Oh.
I want to know what sign that is.
Oh, it's a triangle. Upside down triangle. Are you serious? Potatoes calcify your pineal gland? I also heard that about fluoride too.
I don't know what sign that is. I'll try and
oh look.
Yeah.
That's much better.
Yeah, it is.
What does it look like?
I don't know. Oh wait, is that just the male and female sign?
Miss Kelly says I'm dying. Forget the commercial. Tell us more about magical potato trees, please.
I think that is the male and female sign.
Wait, there's a male and female sign on his upside down triangle?
I kind of feel like it.
That's super strange.
I had to look at it with my own eye. Oh no, it's not. Wait, what? No, I don't think it is. I wasn't sure though.
We are watching Bundy, who's running for governor. It's funny his name is Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
He's running for governor in Idaho, and this is his campaign video.
Yeah, this is his campaign video.
It's a bathroom, a bathroom symbol.
And then we'll dig back into the Coeur d'Alene shooting. And you sent those, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought. So is this all you were showing?
Yeah. It's just strange. And I want to be able to cover both sides of the equation here, right? Because you have people that are saying that there's that he has connections to cult stuff. And this is actually him making his cult claims known.
Yeah, we know it's about the woke cult.
Yeah.
We know like from a political standpoint where this is coming from. Like we get that. Brennan was just theorizing from, going along with, Drip Drop Crime Circus's line of thinking. Is he dropping this in because he could have came at it different.
Yes.
Like when talking about the woke cult, the way he did it, I mean, I guess is kind of odd. So he was wondering, is he paying homage to anything, considering he's using a George Washington Constitution, which is not the typical Constitution you can buy. It's this. This is what it looks like when you go buy a Constitution. So is he paying homage by using George Washington, who was a Freemason? Very well known one, that they're burning in the fire and other things. It's just odd. I mean,
yeah, those little details that someone without like actual knowledge of those things might not pick up, might not know.
People in like those kinds of secret societies or fraternities will absolutely drop hints in anything that they do.
Yeah,
they will.
Yep.
The costumes look like those people that showed up on the churches.
Oh, shut up. The occult, that is crazy.
What?
That connection. Ammon is another version of the Egyptian god.
Where?
Right here. That's
Hmm.
interesting.
Where did it say that?
That's his name.
Whose name?
The governor.
It's Ammon Bundy?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
I
Egyptian Bundy.
That's strange. I didn't know what his first name was.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll keep digging. You know, I know it's joking going into the tin hat topics and everything. But you never know. One thing that's really important, like why we talk about the tin hat topics in the way that we do without just putting them down and putting people down for believing them, is that if these beliefs are important to a suspect, then they should be important to everybody. So an overall knowledge is really important of all of these things.
Yeah. And Bohemian Grove is real. And they
Yep,
were
it's
burning.
real.
So
Yeah.
what do you think about them burning the American flag in that video?
What?
Even though they're acting
Bohemian?
like no, the Bohemian Cult, I was just saying, or Bohemian Grove is a real place. Like
Okay.
we know that.
Yep.
Separately, in that governor's video, he was burning an American flag, which I get it. He's making the woke cult look like they're doing it, but like him and his production company had to do that to make the video. So what do you think about that? Along with the George Washington, Constitution.
Yeah. Well, look, here's another play, right? And let's just see how tin hat I could go. So 3 things are burning in the fire. We have a picture of somebody pregnant,
An ultrasound.
we have an American flag, and we have the George Washington Constitution. And he grabs the George Washington Constitution and lets the other 2 burn.
That's super weird.
You know, obviously that's just going tin hat, you guys. I'm just taking it there. You know, I'm not saying I believe that or anything, but I'm just trying to make connections how someone else could.
Oh yeah, there was a cross too. There was 4 things. There was a wooden cross. That's right.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yep. I feel like he's promoting them more than he's deterring them too. And I'm not even trying to go tin hat. I think it was a poor attempt at leaning into the local narrative. You know? I just think it was a poor attempt at that.
Yeah, a young Alex Jones absolutely snuck into Bohemian Grove, and that stuff was insane. That was absolutely real. Whatever.
Yep. Bohemian Grove is real.
You like Alex Jones, dislike Alex Jones, that doesn't matter. Back then, when he did that, that was some wild stuff.
Yep.
And it was 100% real.
Yep. Absolutely. And if you guys don't know what they do at Bohemian Grove to like initiate, you should look into it. It's interesting. Very, very interesting. Actually, you could probably just watch Alex Jones, and I think he talks about it too.
Yeah. It broke Alex Jones's brain. Maybe it did. Maybe they got to him and started poisoning him with some kind of braiding parasite.
That's what we've been talking about, Don't Dive, is that George Washington I think he was the first 33rd Freemason.
Good night, Anne.
Yeah, good night.
I hope your stitch removal goes smoothly.
Yeah.
I always hate that part.
Yeah, I don't like how it feels.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to our second topic of the night. I know we kind of got, oh man, did I accidentally close the wrong one? I think I did. Yep. Okay, so give me 1 second here.
It was kind of near the top, I believe.
Was it?
What? You just passed it.
No, that's the new one.
Oh.
I was going to go with one of the original ones, and I think it's actually, is it in 17 or 6? There it is. Okay. All right, so what we know about this area. This area has had secret societies in this area. It has had fraternities. It has had criminal group entities in this area. I think that is the original point of origin for this area. Now, that's weird, okay? That's not the topic of conversation for tonight, but that's weird. That's really weird. Yeah, the occult reject shows are incredible. They are amazing.
Yeah, so definitely go check them out.
Yes. And so going back to the shooting, right? And that's what this is here, just to bring it back around. So residents are still asking questions. We have TNT who's covering Brent Kopaka. We do have all the Brent Kopaka footage. We didn't want to take, because TNT has been like focusing on that for the last couple weeks. So I've been waiting to put any of that out, but we got it like the next day, I think, after she posted that video. And this feels very similar to that. Okay. So the rundown of that is there was a situation where a gun was involved, right? Police got called. They weren't acting like it was a big deal. They weren't acting like it was a big issue. Everyone was really calm and everything, but ultimately they ended up shooting someone to death. Now they locked that case up and sent the officer home, did an internal investigation, and that case has been locked up for over a year. No one could get access to it. Everyone was waiting on it. Everyone was trying to get information from it, but they had to officially close the case before all that information got sent out to everybody. Now, I think we have like 17 files is what we were sent. I think I listened to all of them. And all the different police body cam footages from the Brent Kopaka. This is like beginning stages of that was, except with the Brent Kopaka stuff, the sheriff was not involved. There was no sheriff involved investigation. On this one, we have a family member who called in and said there was something going on with the gun. They closed off the streets. They kept everyone back, and the police ended up ending this woman.
Wait, what? A family member?
That's what it says.
I don't know.
Yeah, you pulled it up and corrected me. That it was a family member.
Yeah, I don't think they called and said something was going on with a gun.
I think so. Yeah.
No, I believe it. I don't think it says any of that, but
how do you think they knew she had a gun? Why would they call SWAT? I think you might be confused because you're the one who told me all this stuff. Why else would SWAT be called?
I don't know why. That's guns. What I was speculating on, because I don't believe there's anywhere that it says there's something going on with a gun there.
Yeah, that's what the call was about.
Okay.
The 911 call.
Okay.
Was called in that there was a gun. Here.
Okay. 2 Spirit Lake officers responded to residents around 6:15 p.m. Wednesday to investigate a unaliving self threat call, according to the sheriffs. A shooting occurred at the residence. I believe I sent this to you. This is on Bonner County Daily Bee.
Yeah.
A shooting occurred at the residence, but police have not yet confirmed who fired the shots or whether anyone was hit. No officers were injured, according to Spirit Lake Police Department. The subject of the welfare check, identified by police as 67-year-old S.A. Floyd, was found deceased inside an apartment. Her cause of death has not yet been confirmed.
Yeah.
An autopsy was performed on Thursday. The officers involved in the incident have been placed on administrative leave.
Okay,
This
but
is a
that's
standard procedure.
But that's the first one. And then we listen to the second follow-up. And the second follow-up video is what talks about here. I'm just gonna go to it.
Okay.
Okay, let me find it here.
Yeah, so we're not going to answer that.
Frustration tonight as important questions remain unanswered from the death of a 67-year-old woman last week.
Not surprising.
They said they are the sheriff's department, and it was County Sheriff Robert Norris who.
And they did say it was a shooting.
It is
or
a shooting.
Shot was fired.
It was a shooting.
It might be in the first.
So she was later found deceased in her apartment.
Yeah, it might be in the first one actually, but
I mean, I only read from these articles that I sent you, so I mean, if it's anywhere, it's in these articles. So,
I know you've been gathering information for us this morning. What can you share with us?
Whoa, this audio.
So, Channing, right now we're at 4th and Jefferson, where last night there were dozens of sheriff's office deputies as well as Coeur d'Alene police cars here. Since last night, those police officers and deputies have cleared out. There is just one more sheriff's deputy car here in the parking lot of an apartment complex just to the right of me here. Now, we don't know much about what happened late last night, but what we do know is there was a report of an officer-involved shooting at 8 o'clock last night right here in this area of Jefferson and 4th Avenue. We do know that no officer ended up hurt, but we don't know whether or not the other person involved in that officer-involved shooting ended up hurt or not. After the reports of the officer-involved shooting, then that's when a SWAT standoff happened at one of the houses here around 4th and Jefferson. We don't know which house at this point. And we don't know whether or not the suspect was actually.
So, okay, I think that's where the misconception is. So there was an officer involved shooting and then a standoff.
Yeah, and here, let me
and I'm pretty sure one of the family members called in.
Yeah. I just said that there was a welfare check, and somebody had threatened to unalive themselves. Well, now listen to this. According to a neighbor,
okay,
the sheriff's office has not clarified whether Floyd was shot by police during the standoff or if she died another way. Spirit Lake resident Steve Stoke, who lives across the street from the facility, said his wife heard 5 gunshots and found out somebody barricaded themselves into the apartment. SWAT and police surrounded the apartment and flashbangs were deployed, which were heard by neighbors on the surrounding streets. Police sounded like they were negotiating with the person to come out of the unit. Other residents at Maple Tree Court were evacuated to Spirit Lake City Hall. They were holding out a loudspeaker, "Come out with your hands up. We are just here to help you." It took hours. Amanda Ask, another neighbor in the area, said by the time she arrived home around 6:30 p.m., police already had the apartment surrounded. SWAT drove a truck into the complex with multiple officers standing on the back of the car, all armed. Police were on the street telling neighbors to go back inside. Amanda said all while she could hear what she thought was a helicopter flying above the area. They had a helicopter on this. Stoke and Amanda Ask both said this type of incident in the town was shocking. It's super unusual. Now we have an account from a visitation aide who said they used to go help her because she needed a lot of extra help. She had trouble seeing, was poor, and was being evicted. That was her last night in the unit. She was small, maybe 100 pounds. She lived on her own, so she obviously couldn't get around. But when we left, she asked, "Do you know how to deal with a blind person?" And she said she would hang on to my elbow. She said, "Just don't walk too fast and keep me in the middle of the sidewalk." She carried a white cane. She'd feel the curb with the cane. Like, she literally had to hang on to somebody's arm to be able to like walk around because she couldn't see and she couldn't walk.
Yeah. So I'm just.
So how
I
could
agree.
she? How could she barricade herself into an apartment and have a standoff with police?
Look, I agree with you. I think the whole thing is strange. The whole thing is super weird. But I read multiple documents talking about a family member, which made me wonder why, because we didn't hear about them at first. So where is this supposed family member coming from? How was there a police involved shooting and then a standoff? Like, these things don't make sense.
None of it makes sense. I don't understand how a 67-year-old old woman who's blind and can hardly walk or get around on her own, and how she could do any of what they're claiming happened. They put flashbangs in there, and
maybe it's a gun cane.
She's barricading herself into an apartment. Is this for real?
I don't understand it. I don't get it either.
I question, does she have a grandson that came there and did this? And, is there a family member that could have came there? But why is she the one passed away?
Or were they like way wrong? They were fighting a ghost person. You know what I mean? That did she get hit by a stray bullet? And now the standoff is to try and fix the situation?
This is reminding me a lot of like Kopaka, but like this is an old woman who is disabled.
I agree. And my biggest concern here is things not being handled transparent and or correct.
Well, they're investigating right now, so I do understand the lack of information, and I'm glad that is the sheriff's office investigating the city police. Like, if we have an external and investigators that are not a part of this, I hope that leads to more truth and transparency than a place investigating themselves, like a city police office with higher ups investigating that are still in that police, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
office investigating themselves, like that, like internal affairs type thing. I don't always completely trust that.
Dude, the federal government needs to come in and like correct Idaho. There is something crazy going on in Idaho where you call SWAT and somebody is 100% of the time getting shot.
Yeah, this is in Spirit Lake, Idaho, which is in Kootenai County, same county as Coeur d'Alene.
Yep.
Almost sounds like a swatting, Michael. You're absolutely right. It does. It sounds like somebody called in a fake call.
Isn't Spirit Lake the lake in Coeur d'Alene?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure. This was in Spirit Lake, Idaho.
I think this is the lake
that everyone goes to in Coeur d'Alene.
I think so, yeah.
It's also interesting because I want to, what's going on with the police training in this area? And do what these Washington police, in Pullman, also go to the same training centers as like Kootenai County police and Moscow police? Like, do they all train together? What is up with?
I think there's a major flaw in their training. I agree with you. Not even just talking about like Reed training, but the SWAT training. Where are these SWAT guys coming from, and why are they so quick to pull a trigger?
Right.
It sounds like a problem to me.
I agree.
It sounds problematic. We have the only one, okay? The only one, which in my opinion, like, does it count? Of course it counts, but it doesn't count at the same time. And what I'm talking about is the shooting in Idaho, in Moscow. You remember how they took that guy without ending him? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Where he was shooting out the window or whatever?
Yep.
That was less than a year after Kopaka, and that officer is being held accountable for that, for the Kopaka stuff. So it makes sense why they would change their tactics. But then you go 45 minutes outside of that area and you see the same things again, quick to trigger. This was a 67-year-old woman.
Yeah, as soon as we're allowed to
blind,
as soon as we are allowed to hello AR, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, there's a lot of issues with law enforcement in Idaho, as we're seeing with the Spirit Lake shooting. It's a problem.
What's going on with Idaho?
Like, as soon I already have the request form and everything, that as soon as I can, I am going to be hitting them up with the Freedom of Information Act to get the documents, body cam, anything I can, because I think this is a huge deal. Like, I'm absolutely going to be looking at those police reports and that body cam footage, because this one is a problem. Like, Kopaka is a problem. And, you know, with the body cam footage, I saw AR, you come out with a video on the Kopaka stuff. I agree with you. They didn't try to learn, and Lana, they didn't try to learn anything about him and negotiate anything.
Yeah, we've even talked on that. So like, yeah, we are all in agreement, the same. But so you know, the tactics they're supposed to use, and to me, it sounds like they set him up to end him. And yes, I am saying that intentionally, and I barely ever say that. I usually always side with law enforcement until I start seeing cracks. But, you know, they called his friend and said, hey, do you know Brent Kopaka? And he said, yeah. Why? What's up? And they said, okay, thanks. And they hung up and did not try and get him on the phone with Kopaka.
Yeah, that's messed up.
What?
That's messed up.
Why did they not throw a phone into him? Why did they not try and reach out to him and get a response? Like, why did none of this happen? Why was the first thing that they go to it? Why did they call his friend and then not make the connection? What is the point? For me, it sounds like, okay, we need to check all our boxes before we pull that trigger. Okay, call made, check. This done, check. This done, check. Pow.
Yeah, I know. I know. And the thing is like, Lana made a great point that they didn't even seem to know that he was a veteran. It was never mentioned in the body cam footage anywhere.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah.
Because she said it wasn't ever mentioned. Maybe she probably just missed it.
Yep.
But I mean, from everything that I heard and watched, which it was kind of hard to listen to. I really want you to enhance the audio.
Yeah.
But I couldn't hear them really negotiating the whole time. It's come out with your hands up, come out with your hands up, come out with your hands up. Oh, you want a cigarette? Come out here. Like, that's not negotiating. That's yelling commands at somebody.
So we have all of the videos from the Kopaka stuff. I think it's 17 total files. And like I said just a minute ago, I've just been letting TNT without trying to like hop on that bandwagon, waiting for TNT to get through the bulk of that stuff. But we've had them for weeks already. And there's a body cam with one of the roommates where they absolutely let the police officer know that his background or whatever. But the thing is, that officer does not share that information. It doesn't, like, if I was that cop and I just got told that, I would right away be like, hey, let me get on my radio. Give me a second here. And boom, share that information. That was not done. That was not done. It's really strange.
Yeah.
Really, really strange. That should be number one because of a multitude of factors. Gun training, weapons training, all this training. So looking at it from a cop's perspective, to save life, you want to share all that information with everybody there. And that makes him more dangerous. So you would think that you would try and create more situations where you de-escalate the situation, not escalate it. And get to the point quickly, like, let's hurry it up. Let's get to the point where we can pull the trigger, you know? That's literally what it feels like in Kopaka, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was hard to listen to be honest, for me. And that's awesome. I hope you do a live soon. I hope to catch it, AR, when you do go live. I haven't got to catch any of your lives yet.
Yeah,
I really would love
absolutely.
to.
Do you think I'm not a cop. I've had many cop friends and I've never asked this question. So I haven't hung out with any cop friends in years, you guys. I used to all the time, but for whatever reason, I never asked this question. Do you think cops brag about how many people they've ended?
Ooh.
I've never been around a cop and been like, hey, do you guys like, hey, you remember that one guy that was acting crazy? I put 2 in him.
Like
you know what I mean?
Old war stories telling, like glorifying.
Yeah,
Okay.
glorifying shootings.
So I would like to hear from you guys if you know any police, if you have experienced that, because that's interesting. I'm sure some don't. I'm sure there's some that it feels traumatic, but I'm sure there are ones who do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a scary thought. We know soldiers do.
Depends on the person, I would assume.
Yeah. We know soldiers do, but soldiers are in a different situation.
Much
that is a different setting, being in a different country with potential enemies around you at all times. And I feel like there is a certain mindset you need to be in that is more sociopathic to be a good soldier. And that is very different in my opinion.
Yeah, they don't like talking about work, and
most
of them, it's devastating. I hope that's the case for most.
I wish I would have asked that question. I can't believe I never asked that. I can't believe I never asked that. Now, when I used to hang out with like hardened criminals that did time, that did prison time, I had a buddy. So I was never affiliated, okay? But I had a buddy that was to the Skins, and in California there's like there's 2 Caucasian gangs in prison. You have the Woods and you have the Skins. They have very different rules.
Michael
very
said
different
thanks.
Associations.
Thanks,
but,
Brendan.
there is what, for the military thing?
Yeah,
I feel like it's a good thing, man. Like military, I take off my hat. Like, dude, military is important, man, and it is hard. I think police is hard too. But going back to my story, so he was affiliated with the Skins, which is a much more active gang that in prison and outside than Woods are. And he did time constantly. He was always going in, coming out, and getting caught up for something with his officer and going back in and out, just PO back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And AR, that.
Yeah, I think
scary
I
stuff.
Think there's
but
many soldiers who don't talk about what they experienced, though, too. And I don't think, I mean, it's just, there's different ways of handling it, okay? There's different ways. I have heard.
We all have to be sociopathic at times. When I say sociopathic, I'm talking about like tendencies, right? You got to be able to turn off those emotions and be able to engage in life-threatening, traumatic situations. So I don't mean that as a stab, you guys. But
don't forget,
so
what's AB?
Aryan Brotherhood.
Oh.
So he was a Skin, and so he was always going in and out of prison, and he would tell me like he was one of the shot callers. He was one of the key holders for the whites or the Skins in that world. And he had a certain tattoo on his butt that basically called the prison officers out when they're searching him. And all the time, he said almost every single time when you're going into a prison in California, these officers want to see how they hold up how they hold themselves when in comparison to a criminal. So a lot of times they'll take their belt off and take them in the other room and go throw blows with them, literally get down with them. And you know, when an officer does that, that those are the officers that you're going to be able to reach out to get things in, bring phones in, bring dope in, bring all kinds of stuff in for you. And it's a lot more common than you think. Now you got to understand, he was like a criminal, right? So but he said like half of those officers would. Now I understand those officers are a little bit different than like a police officer, a peace officer out on the streets, but that can show you the mindset behind officers in general, right? Sorry, that was super long-winded to get to my point. But
corrections officers are different than police, though.
it depends on what facility you're in, but yes, they are. But they're all part of that law enforcement train.
Yeah, they're all part of law enforcement, but corrections officers don't. I think they're honestly, the training's different and it's less like it's just a different situation. And you have to, it's less training. I know that actually for sure.
I've told Malia this, but I bet we know same people, AR.
What is that?
Cochrane, just a prison.
Where?
What, Central Cali, right? Or is that just on the west of Arizona?
You know, I used to play on Guantanamo Bay.
I've never
beach.
done time, you guys, so I don't know 100% where that is. I think it's Corona, maybe. I don't know, man. Let me look it up just to be sure.
It says Cochrane, California.
Oh, Cochrane, California. Okay. Yeah, I've never been in the
Did you?
Yeah, it's just a response. It's echoing in the mic. But I've never done time. So like the exact placement of those areas, it's max security. You probably know a lot of people I know. But yeah. And I saw some people on here asking, for those of you that are new here, I was a troubled kid, man. I went through a lot of stuff when I was younger, and I had ADHD that. Why is the computer doing that? What do I have on? Oh, right here. So I had ADHD that wasn't being treated. I had trauma that happened to me when I was younger. And I have a interest in, getting that adrenaline rush. That combination of things just wasn't healthy for me. So I automatically started associating with criminals and doing work for criminals and working with criminals. And, it created a really bad situation because I wasn't in a place in my life where I could learn, grow, and get over my traumas in a healthy way. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't have those tools of coping. So, luckily, I am so lucky, you guys, to never have to do real time. But when you're hanging out with those people, you associate with them. And I think what a lot of people don't know is that even like race-based criminals, right? Like skinheads, like I can't even say the word, but the NAZ lowriders, Vinlanders, ABs,
hammer skids.
Yep, ABs, all these factions, they associate with all races because everything is drug related and money related, all of it. And internally they don't admit that, but that's absolutely what it is. So if you're around those types of things, then you are going to be around all of these types of people. I was never affiliated, and I would tell you guys if I was, but I don't see that as being any different than being a criminal. A criminal is just as negative, detrimental, horrible to society as somebody as misguided as doing something like that. But you served in the Boy Scouts. That's super funny. I regret all of it. I don't regret it as life experience. I regret not pursuing things that I actually enjoy pursuing, like you know, a lawyer, being a lawyer, focusing in on some kind of science. Those are the things that I like that because of my past and not being able to cope, I missed out on, you know. I hope that answered your guys' question, though.
Whose question?
I saw two people ask, like, how were you associated with skinheads, or how were you know what I mean?
You were also a punk rocker, so.
Yeah, but that doesn't have nothing to do with race. Punk is the opposite of that. Punks
Yeah,
are
but
like
there was a bunch of
anti
skin.
any racism, anti any.
Yeah, but there was a part of punks that were skinheads.
Yeah, but real punks hate them. They fight them, and like there is no room for racism in punk. That doesn't exist. But yes. Yeah.
I'm glad you're on the up and up though, AR. He said he served over 25 years. That's
wild, man.
That's incredible. I'm happy that like you're not in that, you know, cycle of going back, and you're on to bigger and better things with your wife, and it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Some of us, yeah, punks and skins don't work for sure.
Well, I knew that you fought them, like you weren't friends with them.
Yeah,
but I just thought maybe you knew something about them also because of that. I mean, because fighting somebody being an enemy can make you learn a lot about them too.
Yeah. It when you saw the skinhead, you just knew there was going to be a fight that night.
Yeah, you have a real life now. Exactly. I feel that way too. I definitely don't want to go back to any of my shenanigans.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to call them.
Yeah. But like looking back at it though, I take a lot of those things that happened to me and that I was involved in, and I like having those experiences.
You make it valuable.
When we're looking at crime and looking at these types of things where you're trying to get in the head of a criminal. Well, it's a lot easier to get in the head of somebody when you've been that person. You know what I mean?
Which is what AR is doing as well.
Yeah.
And that's why we love your channel, AR.
Yeah.
So you guys should definitely check him out if you haven't.
It brings.
He's posted some videos the past few days that I was like, whoa! And I watched him on my alt account. I need to go onto the Thought Right account and like it too and leave a comment. I will do that, but because I'm always watching on my alt account, and I don't really want to make my alt account known. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. But so yeah, Coeur d'Alene. What do you think is gonna happen?
I think this is gonna come out as either swatting, like Michael said, King of the Chat Michael said, or we're gonna see. I think regardless, this is gonna be police misconduct in some way. I feel like unless there's another person involved that they haven't told us about, like a grandson or somebody she knew, or maybe a stranger coming in her place. I don't know. Unless there's that, and she was just a victim of circumstance, there's I feel like there's absolutely no way there can't be some kind of police misconduct.
I agree, and I don't understand it, and it makes me wonder if this was to cover up a mistake. And what I'm getting at here is like, how, if you're following protocol, can you escalate to this point where it got with somebody that's 67 years old and blind and unable to walk on their own and maybe unable to stand on their own, that has to require a walker? Like, how? Do you think the SWAT team rolled up and she's yelling out the window, "Don't come in here, I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da"? You like, what? How did it go from this to this?
They said she barricaded herself. She can barely walk. She can't see. She is blind and has a cane. There's no way a woman that is 100 pounds, who is blind and can barely walk, is barricading herself in an apartment with a gun. And apparently it was an unaliving self-call.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
So how is that a threat to the cops?
It made me wonder, did something go wrong and a mistake was made and she was ended and the cops were trying to cover it up and said, hey, we need SWAT here because we heard this and this and this and this. And the whole time SWAT was there, nothing was said because she was already ended.
Yeah, she was a savage. Exactly.
Do you know? I gotta pee.
Do I know what? Okay. Well, he's really got to pee. Okay. Yeah, I know, man. And I'm interested in hearing your writing. I think I heard the second one. I think I missed the first one, but I am curious to hear it. I think it's amazing that you're doing that. But you guys, I just can't even fathom this. And by the way, Brendan was wrong. Spirit Lake isn't the lake, I don't believe, that has been referenced and was referenced in Crime Circus's video. Coeur d'Alene has a giant lake that it seems to extend from Coeur d'Alene south all the way to, what is the name of this town here? Oh my gosh, there's a town called Plumbing. There's literally a town called Plummer south of Coeur d'Alene, but it extends south to Parkland, and Plummer's right to the left. There's a town called Plummer south of Coeur d'Alene. Plumbing,
Yeah.
our viewer.
Dude, you need to live there.
Yeah, go to Plummer.
Plummerville.
But this, look, in Coeur d'Alene, there's a giant lake.
Yeah.
So I don't think Spirit Lake is that. Spirit Lake is
Oh,
small.
got it. Okay.
This is the Coeur d'Alene lake.
Well, I wonder
But
where
Spirit Lake is really close. And guess who lives there? Look, Rathdrum, where the Gonzalez's live, is super close to Spirit Lake.
It's all part of that same area. I know
is.
we've seen the social media pictures of all of those kids on the lake.
Yep. Them all floating in tubes and stuff.
Yeah, I think I might have some of those pictures.
So Spirit Lake to Rathdrum, which Rathdrum is basically a part of Coeur d'Alene. It's on the northern side of it, almost like a little suburb of Coeur d'Alene, if you can even call Coeur d'Alene a big city or anything. I don't think so. But it's a 15-minute drive. It's 11.9, so 12 miles. North on this county road, and then
it's part of the same. It's right there.
It's
right there. It's right there.
It's just a tiny town outside of Coeur d'Alene.
Yep. So what could this be? Because the Brent Kopaka stuff is
you know what I didn't notice?
What?
Coeur d'Alene has a giant national forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much conspiracy around national forests and so many crimes that happen around national forests.
I know.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, there's stuff to back up these ideas that there's some weird stuff going on. And I wish I had already released what the video that from this area. I wish I had already released it, but I'll be releasing it soon. It's wild. It's wild, to say the least. It is wild.
Do you remember the question you asked me?
What?
You asked me a question before you left.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope. I just think it's interesting. I think something's going on here. I think it needs to be looked into. I think it could be something simple like a training problem within the police, or it could be something more that we don't understand.
Yeah, there could be an additional element that we don't understand, but at face value, what they are reporting and won't give any more information looks absolutely horrible.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Whoa.
Yeah. I just looked up that name, AR.
The man with the 1,000 faces?
Yeah. I don't remember this guy. What is he? A Sereno or Norteño?
Gosh, he's scary.
Yeah.
He's a criminal. Is he a murderer? Like, what is he?
Oh, I don't know, but Kern County is like Coeur d'Alene. It is wild. But yeah, I think what Stunt said is a really good comment, that the cops up there are bored and have a Rambo complex, getting all amped up, and then something happens. That could very likely be what happened in the Kopaka situation too. It doesn't change that they need to be held accountable and things need to be fixed. You know, we've commented on the Idaho 4 police and how they acted pre-crime to how they're acting post-crime.
The difference is wild. It is insane. And they are not the same police officers on the streets anymore. It's different police officers, and they are way nice now. Like, people are literally peeing on the 1122 King Road home, and they go out there and just have a nice conversation.
I know.
Interesting. It's really, really strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, get a clue is good.
No,
we like Get a Clue, but he is a little sensitive, and that's not a bad thing.
He is sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, he really didn't like Brendan's hot dog.
I know.
He called me a sidekick when
I was so happy.
It was my theory. It wasn't even your theory. It was mine, but I was the sidekick.
I was so happy when Get a Clue said that. I was laughing so hard. He was like, I had to listen to something Idaho 4 from a hot dog, or a grown man in a hot dog. I was like, yes, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know why people get so weird about the costumes. Like, people were leaving comments like we were doing it for no reason. Like, it was literally Halloween.
I know.
It was for Halloween.
I mean, even if it wasn't for Halloween, it doesn't matter. What is going on up here has nothing to do with what's going on out here. Come on.
Yeah. I know he complimented us right before that. I know.
Yeah.
He liked us, and then he saw the hot dog, and he was like, and the fact that, you know, I was questioning whether Brian could have relapsed or something. He didn't like that, which it's his opinion. That's fine. I still enjoy his content. I still like the things that he uncovers, and I think that he has some interesting angles to some of the things he talks about, which is what I look for and I watch for. So you know,
no, I like Get a Clue also, and there is nothing that can offend me. I don't think anyone out there could offend me. It's just not possible with words. I do not think it's possible with words for someone to offend me. I usually find humor in literally everything. So, you know, the only thing I worry for with Get a Clue is his own stress. When I listen to him, I'm like,
I know.
Bro, calm down.
Like, his
You're
rate,
gonna give yourself a heart attack.
His heart rate must be high.
Yeah.
He is very authentic. Absolutely. I don't think he's trolling. I think he's being 100% authentic in most of it. Now, he does troll in some things, like saying he's in Bill Thompson's beard.
Yeah.
You know, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, but we like all creators.
We do. And I know some people don't like Drip Drop. Some people don't like Get a Clue. Some people don't like this person or that person. But the thing is I always look for in content something that makes me think. Either uncovering information or something that's going to make me critically think. And Drip Drop does that. Get a Clue does that. Lana does that. Like, there's tons of creators that do that. You have to think for yourself, though. You have to verify information. which I understand a lot of viewers don't necessarily want to do, so then you just watch something else from a different perspective then,
Absolutely.
just to keep your mind sharp.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I like him a lot. Even if he were to decide he doesn't like me, I still like him.
Yeah.
It won't hurt my feelings.
Yep. I agree.
I like the added humor to a lot of content too.
No, I don't think it's the fermented fish juice. I think you're talking about the
I was dying about that
here,
the
hang
other
on.
day.
I have it.
I immediately had to show Brendan. It's the Swedish fish or something.
Yep. I don't know if anyone can hear this though.
You'd have to share it, I think.
I don't know if I can share this.
You can't open it in the browser?
I don't know.
This has the FBI signature written all over.
Can you hear it? They can't hear it?
Disgusting, cowardly weasels that they are. You are, dudes. You're listening, FBI. You are cowardly weasels, man. Cowardly weasels. This is as dirty gets. You are scum for
Can
doing
you
this.
hear it?
Scum. Disgusting scum. You make me want to puke. You're worse than smelly Swedish fish.
Can you guys hear that?
Did you guys hear that?
Oh, he's fired up.
Yeah, dude, I love it. It was so funny.
I know.
Smelly Swedish fish. That's so great, man.
It was real. He was tripping, man. He was definitely fired up. That was Get a Clue.
Yeah, that was Get a Clue.
Sometimes he just gets so emotional in his videos and he just loses it. And it's really entertaining.
It is really entertaining.
But I do worry about his stress levels a little bit.
Yeah. Smelly Swedish fish.
This case has brought a ton of passion out in people. Definitely.
Yeah. It's a scary case though. Let's be real here.
It is terrifying. I can't even imagine something like this happening in my hometown or, near me. Sometimes I even I guess all true crime has made me kind of, and I've been listening to true crime for a very long time, not digging into it super deep always, but I've been listening for a very long time. So I am very aware of my surroundings and my safety and everything, but the Koberger stuff and the, Idaho 4 stuff, it does make you kind of be like, gosh, somebody just coming up into your home at 3 or 4 a.m.
That's not even what scares
slaughtering
me. That part doesn't scare me. And this might be a weird take, but humans are going to end other humans. There's no way around it. There is nothing that can be done. There are just sociopaths out there that will end other people. If I could stop all of it, I absolutely would, but we can't. It is just part of human history. Now, what is terrifying for me is having a justice system that you cannot depend on. That is way scarier for me. And I don't know if it's just a me thing, but I get anxiety when I feel like I don't have any more choices. I don't have any more options. I don't have an out. I'm cornered. There's nothing I can do. That is the most terrifying idea for me. And when you have a justice system that is untrustworthy, that you cannot depend on, that you second guess calling, that you're afraid to call 911 on, that is that. You have no options. There is nobody you can turn to. There is nothing you can do. You are stuck and you do not have a way out. And that is so terrifying to me. That is the scariest part here, is that with that type of justice system, we won't find out who did it. there will never be justice, and people will continue to be abused by the system.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, always know your exits. You know, that's the first thing I think in a bad situation is how can I get outside? I need, like, if somebody's in here, I need to be outside, not in here with them. So that's my ultimate goal, is to get me or whoever I'm with outside.
Yeah.
If you're outside, like, what, they're going to have to hunt me in the streets then. And there's a lot more people outside than there are inside.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, knowing your exits. What I wanted to bring something up after you said that. Oh, AR, actually, I heard the Amber Spradlin case, him bring it to he said he wanted other content creators talking about it because it's a big deal with the 911 calls, and that one scares me. The fact that there is a town in Kentucky, or towns outside of Prestonburg, Kentucky, that they can't get emergency services.
I mean, it's the same idea as having a fraudulent justice system.
Exactly. And
not
you have
being able to call 911, or you can call 911 and get arrested yourself, like,
right,
for being a victim.
Right. And the chief of police saying, oh, we need to prioritize Prestonburg, not these surrounding cities. Like, then who's going to take care of them? Because so basically what happened in that case is the 911 center was with the state police of Kentucky. Well, it was costing Prestonburg quite a bit of money with, I don't remember how it works. I'm going to dive more into that into a separate video. I covered the basics of Amber Spradlin. I want to dive into the 911 call system more in another video, or maybe in the live after the video. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but it transferred, okay, because it was costing Prestonburg a lot of money. So they transfer the 911 system from the state police to Prestonburg. So now the 911 post, the call center, is in Prestonburg. Well, apparently the state police said when they signed that contract, that means Prestonburg had that jurisdiction. They were responsible for the 911 calls of that entire area, not just the city of Prestonburg, but Prestonburg police are understaffed. And the chief of police, after Amber Spradlin was stabbed 11 times, horrifically, at her boss's house, a doctor's house who also owned the restaurant that she worked at. And there was a 911 call, maybe 2 that night, and nobody came.
Yes,
now there's rumors.
It's terrifying, but she didn't call though.
No,
right?
But the first call, from what I heard from the family, was a fight
that we talked about.
And then somebody called back and was like, oh, no, we're all good. Or maybe at the end of that call, they said we're all good. I don't remember. And then the third call was the next morning where they were like, hey, we have a dead body here. Somebody was killed.
Yeah.
And then they come out there and she's been stabbed. And you have a dentist who has some medical knowledge. You have another person who works in medicine that was supposedly one of her best friends that's there, who works in medicine. And there's a hospital 5 minutes down the street. And no police officer showed up to the next morning, even though there was a 911 call, maybe 2 that night. And the chief of police comes out and says, we need to prioritize our own city. The taxpayers who pay for this in the city of Prestonburg is who we have to prioritize. And now there's this back and forth between state police and the officials in Prestonburg arguing about whose responsibility it is.
Yeah.
That is so ridiculous. The fact that we live in 2023 and somebody can be getting killed and a 911 call is made, because standard protocol is that they have to show up no matter what. Yeah. That's such a lack of control. That's terrifying. And that is like, I feel like in essence corrupt. The fact that they don't care. Like who is supposed to take care of these people then?
Yeah.
We are looking into that case and we have a whole video coming out about it. And I'm definitely going to do more on it. But I'm glad AR brought it up because it's not being covered very much at all. And it's a big deal.
I think it is a big deal. I think it really, really, really is a big deal. And it's really unfortunate in those situations because, again, like, dude, if you pay taxes, you should be getting all of these services. Period. If you have income and that you're paying taxes, you get these services. Make it work.
Yeah.
Stop complaining and make it work. That's what I say to those cops.
Agreed.
Like, just stop. Like, enough excuses. Make it work. Figure it out, dudes. You're the police.
Lawyers before they called 911, maybe, because nobody's talking in that case, which is a problem. But yeah, we'll cover that more at a later date. But that kind of stuff really freaks me out.
Hey, Cassidy. No, I don't have an inner monologue. Does that?
She's 29 minutes in. She's behind. She's talking about the
I just thought that was
stuff.
an interesting question because it had me. I was because sometimes I can think two different things at once. I don't know if your guys' minds work like that or if it's an ADHD thing, but I can listen to somebody and think of something completely different. And still be able to hear what's going on. If I'm talking, I can only think of one thing though, period. And just that inner monologue question, I don't think I can hear myself. I think everything's automatic.
Olivia lawyered up? Kaylee's sister?
So that's interesting. So I have a theory where Steve coming out and saying that he was the investigator, I don't think is true, you guys. I do not think it's true. All the investigating has been from Olivia. All of it.
After learning some more, like, because originally I didn't believe that theory at all when he was saying that, and now learning some more, I kind of think you're right.
I think Steve came out. I think Olivia pushed too hard, took it so far that the FBI threatened, and they didn't know who they were threatening, but they knew because their eyewitness person reached out to him and was like, hey, this happened. And so Steve stepped into the firing line for her.
What did you drop? Was it this?
Yeah, I think Steve stepped into the firing line for her and was like, oh, hey, I've been investigating. It's me.
So I think there's a possibility that Steve could have really done it with Steve or with Olivia in some instances. Like maybe because I'm sure Olivia kept Steve in the loop. And they had a private investigator. Do you think it's a possibility that when Olivia, maybe she discovered the witness, and then Steve's like, "Let me go talk to him. I'm nervous for you. You're a woman, like protective father." Like,
I don't think she would have lawyered up if that's the case.
Yeah, and this is crazy. Tennessee said, I swear you're talking about my county in Kentucky. If I call 911, calls over 100 miles away and they can't trace my call, it will be 3 days later before you see a cop.
Whoa.
We don't have.
Oh my gosh.
We don't have real 911 here. My house burned to the ground because I called 911 and it goes to the closest 911 100 miles away. And they sent a fire truck 39 minutes away from my house. It sucks in rural Kentucky.
That is rough. And
Oh
if
my
I lived
goodness.
in that area, I would be guns galore.
Yeah. But what do you
Like,
do when
who-
your house
who
catches
needs-
on fire or somebody needs medical attention? Like,
The
that's
only thing
terrifying.
is I would try and plan for that with like an outside hose that has bigger tubing with more pressure to, I guess, I don't know. I don't know.
This is like, that's wild, Tennessee. It's, if you know where Prestonburg is, if you're anywhere in Eastern Kentucky in that area, then, and you're not in you're in like a small town around that area, or I don't know. That's just crazy. I can't even believe that. They need to change that.
I agree. I don't think it's fair.
A domestic violence call sometimes takes 3 days to see a cop. If you ever see a cop, that's ridiculous.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm sorry it's like that. That's terrifying. I hope they get it fixed. It needs to all be put back in the state cops' hands, and they need to like up their staff or something. Like, that's unacceptable. That's not okay. So
Yeah.
I thought you found more.
What?
Is that coming out later?
Yeah. With the
Okay.
Coeur d'Alene?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's more to come on this topic that you have found.
There is more to come on this topic that we have found. I just found it interesting because, again, I know we've already said this, but we're talking about Idaho. We're talking about an Idaho shooting that feels like it was handled the same exact way as the Kopaka stuff. And it feels like the police force doesn't match the crime.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's interesting that they got the sheriff to investigate. I'm happy about that. But yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to. So Miss Kelly said she doesn't know what we're talking about with the Steve and Olivia thing.
Oh yeah,
we're
we'll
talking.
get a rundown.
Yeah, we're talking about in the Blum. You know, the most recent Blum article that came out.
Probably not.
They.
I would explain.
I am going to
who
explain
Blum
it.
is.
Well,
and the articles.
Howard Blum writes airmail articles, and in the most recent article, he said that Steve was like investigating really hard. He got to a point where he found out the name of like a witness or something, and he was going to go meet with them, and the FBI contacted him and told him to back off, or else he was going to feel the weight of the law, basically. And Brendan is speculating that it wasn't actually Steve that did any of that stuff that was mentioned in the Blum articles with the investigation and going too far, that it was Olivia, because we know that Olivia found a ton of information in the beginning. Like, she literally changed the case with her information in a lot of ways. So he was speculating that was actually her, and Steve may have taken the brunt for that or the blame for that to protect her. And also the interesting fact that Olivia lawyered up in December of 2022. Why did she lawyer up? Now I know the whole family has a lawyer, but I think it's important to have a lawyer to protect your rights in any situation.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to be really clear that just because she lawyered up doesn't say there's some kind of guilt. It could mean that she wanted protection because she is going to be investigating. You know what I mean? That she didn't trust the police. And in order to make sure that you're not being messed with, the best thing to do would be to lawyer up, you know?
Yeah, I need a charger. Hold on.
But
oh man, I just keep bumping everything.
Yes. Okay. But
definitely send us an email.
The Coeur d'Alene stuff.
What did I just do?
I actually have somebody who is giving us information around that, so
Oh really?
It will be awesome.
Yeah, Dirty Clean for sure. Send us an email. Yeah, apparently she did lawyer up.
Yes, and something that I always forget to do, you guys, for anybody that would like it, this is the membership link. I'm pretty sure we just broke 200, which is a huge win. Thank you all for your interest in the True Crime Talk Show and Thought Riot podcast. As you guys know, we're on every podcast platform, everywhere, and we talk about everything all at one time. So come along. And I'm still working on a few of the members' videos in between editing, and I'm going to work really hard to get them done. Now, next week, like the holiday week, we are going to continue our post schedule, you guys, but
it's going to be different.
Yes, we are going to be doing videos without any editing. We are going to be recording off of our normal backgrounds and just posting them live like that on news updates and topics. So essentially we'll record a 20 to 30 minute video and post it as a video during those days.
Yeah, we're both going to be out of town. So we're both just going to post the videos when we think, find things we want to talk about. Unedited, raw videos. Maybe you should take the time to film your membership video. I'm thinking about doing that too.
We have like 3 membership videos that are coming out. Including the long talk about the crime and how I would have done it. We literally talk about everything inside the house and how that house's layout doesn't make sense. How where Dylan's room was doesn't make sense. How it's interesting that it makes more sense that Dylan was on the first floor, not the second. How some of those things can be adjusted and changed through the read technique. Just all of these things. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think Kohberger is presumed innocent, and we always presume law enforcement is competent until we see cracks. And we have confirmed cracks in the Idaho 4 case, not maybes. 100% confirmed at least 2 of the officers in the Idaho 4 case manipulated and fraudulently changed evidence.
Yeah, and Mike, if you're still on here, Mike Applegate, you asked me to look into parallel construction, and I did, and we did a video. There's a video coming out about it, but it was interesting, and I just want to say thanks for suggesting that. Did somebody mention a crack?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, cracks are good.
They're terrible.
Why?
Yeah, I try to presume law enforcement competent until I see something wrong, because I feel like that's only fair.
Their job is really hard and stressful and scary, and they have to deal with physical safety. They have to deal with emotional security of the public and people that they encounter. They have to deal with emotional support stuff. Like the range of their job is insane, and I give them all a ton of respect to police. But because I do that, when I see cracks, I'm coming hard. And I'm going to judge harsh because I give respect right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought the naked man story was a rumor made up by the internet. It was Batanti. Who's Batanti, Miss Kelly? That's about what Bethany Funk saw that night. There was a rumor going around she saw a naked man.
Yeah.
I didn't know where that came from.
Yeah. The naked man.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, she has exculpatory evidence. So what is that exculpatory evidence? My guess, I don't know. That naked man story sounds too fantastical for me, you guys.
Batanti is the defense's PI. Thank you, Joanne. Interesting.
Yes. Hilarious. No, we appreciate that, Beetlejuice. We just can't put it on the screen because of the G-rated show.
Yeah, we get in trouble.
Yep. But we appreciate that shout out, and that's what we were both laughing at. So, yep.
And thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Where's Ian when you need him? Is
I
Ian
know.
here to clip that out of context?
Yeah.
I think he's in Argentina right now.
Yeah, he is.
That guy's just traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
The Blue House video shows everything.
But so what I was saying with the Bethany exculpatory evidence is,
what's your guess?
That story sounds too fantastical. It sounds.
What do you mean?
Not the naked man.
Oh.
The naked man and okay, the FBI, they were back at the house testing, and they were testing the audio, the acoustics in the house. I think her exculpatory evidence is audio based, something she heard, something that she thinks she heard. And the reason why they're doing the acoustics test is to find out if there's any worth, or if they can get it, like they have an angle to combat that. That's my guesstimate. I don't even know if I would say I believe that, but that's just a guesstimate of most likely with the limited information I have.
So I think her evidence, she never heard anything. So that means it didn't happen like DM said, because how did DM hear something and not BF? I'm just guessing. Well, I think there is a possibility she didn't hear anything because of being on the bottom floor. I don't know if that's exculpatory in nature, though. Do you think that Ann Taylor would spin that as exculpatory?
Think that's exculpatory. No, I don't.
Because Dylan would she's so much closer, and she's on the same level as Anna and Ethan. She's right below Maddie's room, that it would make sense for her to hear something. Bethany, I don't know. Like, I don't know. It would depend. And she's got like literally the earth to one side of her, which would dampen a lot of sound.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's it. I think it could be something else.
It could be. It could
but
be.
I don't know.
I'm not set on that. I'm really not set on that. I just.
How do you say acoustics? Paige said it was cute. How do you say
acoustics?
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 I never noticed it.
Well, I appreciate it. I say a lot of things funny.
Yeah, like what were you saying? Hyundai?
Hyundai?
I was dying the whole time. I was like,
Listen,
why is he doing that?
In elementary school, I was taught how to pronounce or what's it called? Enunciate letters?
Yeah.
Enunciate letters, okay? So
sound out those
when something is spelled a certain way, I am going to say them all.
But you realize some letters are silent, and some letters, when put together, make a sound that's like the same, like it's one sound combined. It's not two different sounds.
Listen, I don't have time for all of that.
How do you say this word?
What? Hello?
No.
Echo?
Why don't you say echo?
Huh?
Why don't you say echo?
Because is CH after an E?
I guess echo would be like the face value pronunciation if you didn't know C and H made a ch.
Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Plumbing.
The blue house is where the video was 50 foot from Xana's room, and it has a 360 camera. We seen their camera the day the Coos came and got them. They put up because of the, oh gosh, I didn't see that part till now. But
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested to
I'm really curious about that camera and how much it actually saw. And if I also want to know, did it see? I want to know if any cameras pointed at the front door or the side.
Dude, if they don't have a great video of Brian, that is, how convenient would that be? If that, with how many cameras there are in college towns, I feel like they should have video of him all over the place. Don't you?
Yeah.
I do. If any of you have been to college towns or partied in college towns or just driven around college towns or whatever in college towns, there's cameras everywhere in college towns. There's cameras everywhere in every town. And I just feel like there would be video of him clear as day, since he doesn't have tinting on his windows. If not, it makes me think someone could have been on foot or nearby or whatever. But,
yeah. What if they came at the house from the back through the tree line?
I mean, isn't that the apartment complex? I wouldn't park there because all apartment complexes have cameras.
No, that's the side.
So you're no, there's apartment complexes on both.
I'm talking about the tree line,
and
the hill that goes up, and there's a tree line, and then behind that, I believe that's just another neighborhood. That's houses.
Is it? I don't know.
I think so. I think so. Because I'm Emma, her family lives back there.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a stairway actually that leads up to her, like right next to her house.
I need to finally cover that one video I've been saying I'm going to cover. And
yeah.
I just remembered, guys, make sure you give us a follow on Twitter. I just posted the link in the chat, twitter.com/Thought Riot Pod, not Thought Riot Podcast, because they don't allow that many characters. Twitter.com/Thought Riot Pod.
Mike, I really hope that there is footage that's more that's convincing, man. Because I feel like if they had it pre-PCA, they would have put that in there because it's like too good. It's too good. And that's not something they need to keep like to like have the like the person who committed the crime. They always want to keep information about the crime scene secret in case they say something, you know, that they slip up or they say something that was about the crime scene that nobody else could know because it wasn't released, kind of thing. That's not something that they would have to worry about. And he's gotten all the discovery too. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's something I would have mentioned. They could have found it post PCA though.
Oh my gosh. I meant to talk about this earlier. You know, someone wrote this big long Reddit post, and I'm pretty sure it's in a response to our cell phone video, and it is so bad, dude. And they literally commented on there and was like, oh, I bet that guy from Thought Riot is just grinding his teeth right now. But what's funny is, one, nobody's going to get a reaction like that from me. Come on. Words don't do anything. The better the troll, the more I'm going to laugh. That's all you're going to get out of me. You're going to make my day better. But all the information on that Reddit post is so wrong. Like some of the most wrong I've ever seen.
Can you share it?
I really don't want to give these trolls.
I don't think there's a problem with refuting things. I would make a response video to it because I think that there's value in taking what people are talking about online to try to debunk your information. And because people still believe certain things, you know what I mean? There's this usually a narrative going around. But
it's not being done in that way. So you're acting like this is a pursuit of knowledge. It's not. It's a pursuit to like try and make me mad or something. I don't know. Or try and discredit the years that I worked in wireless. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But they're super, 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 super wrong because they're betting on this information and not taking into account the different frequency levels on this. And look, I can show you one simple fact. So why I can tell this is a response from my video is they use the tower locations as examples that we used in our video. And then simultaneously,
oh, they used all of our information.
Yeah, I know. And then simultaneously said right here, there's 28 towers within 3 miles of 1122 King Road. So that is not true, you guys. That is not true at all.
Wow.
Not even in the slightest. There are not 28 towers, and I don't really want to. I guess it's not going to pop up on screen. Yeah. So for one, this range is not 3 miles. Okay. This is a lot more than 3 miles. So I don't really understand what is going on here. But all those other towers we talked about in our video. So look at all of the towers. Whoa, what is that? That is really strange.
Yeah, what
I've
is
never
that?
seen that before. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at that. The only thing that I could think is maybe because there's Pullman Moscow Regional Airport right here. This is just a way that they mapped all the towers that are on a single roof at the airport. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure.
Huh.
But for those of you that are new here, I have 15 years in the wireless industry, and not as the person you go into a store and get helped with your phone. But I work directly with a lot of the towers and frequencies and things like that. So when I see information that I can share, touch on in a case, I'm going to do it, you know? But I'm going to clarify when things are wrong. And this is horribly incompetent. This is somebody that doesn't have any experience in the wireless industry and copied and pasted things that they thought made sense. I can tell based on what they're talking about. This person wouldn't be able to identify the difference in 5G, 4G, 3G, UC, LTE. They wouldn't have any idea how to do any of that.
Closed networks towers that do not attach, like they don't connect to your phone at all.
Well, they also have antennas highlighted. So this is wrong on multiple fronts. For one, antennas aren't going to give you the coverage that this person is talking about. For two, there are a lot of towers in the area, but those towers are closed network towers. There's thousands and thousands of towers, hundreds of thousands of towers in the US that can't be used. Cell phones cannot connect to them. They are special towers.
I want to mention that you have to remember that the Murdaugh trial is a big difference. It depends on where you are in the country. Like it depends on where you are, because in the Murdaugh trial, and in the YNW Melly case, there were a ton of towers to where it was super precise and could be relied upon. In Moscow, the service is not good. The way the towers are laid out, if you go watch our video on cell tower data, it will make more sense.
You know what's really funny too?
It's not comparable. There's major differences. And I'm not calling you out, Tennessee, or anything. Like, I know a lot of people think like that. They see it in one case, so they assume it applies to every case, and it just doesn't. And normal people won't know that.
Trilateration can't happen with cell phone towers. Trilateration is GPS. And but anyways, I just thought this was super funny, and it's really important for everybody to clarify and verify their information. Me too, you guys. Like, do not believe what I say. Please don't believe what I say. I don't want you to believe what I say. I want you guys to just take the information that I'm sharing and use that as a carrot to verify on your own. You know, I don't want people to believe me. I think that it's important for all of us to have opinions, but our opinions should be like a carrot to just go and research some more and learn some more and figure out some more, you know? So just be careful with situations like this. And I don't know why their response to this is. I think probably because they have this idea that we want Brian to be guilty. I mean, innocent. That's the only thing that I can come up with. But, dude, if I want Brian to be guilty, I absolutely want them to have the right guy. But I need to see the evidence to feel comfortable with that. You know, that is
So,
and that has nothing to do with Brian. That has to do with the fact that I want my country to be trustworthy.
right. And I think calling out issues in a case, it doesn't mean that you want that person to be innocent. Like I definitely want them to have the right guy, because I don't want a murderer on the streets. I don't want police corruption. I want everything to go the way it should. But when you're calling out these issues, like, these are things that everybody should be aware of, and these are things that could bungle the case against Kohberger and make it less convincing. And I think what we proved here is that the cell tower data alone is not going to prove anything at all. That we're going to have to look into app data.
Yeah. And
Geolocation, that's what needs to be relied upon in this case to be able to prove anything. And if they can't do that, then they don't have anything as far as locating him on those 12 times that he supposedly came and stalked the home.
So I didn't even read all of this, but you know what's funny? This is the first time I've read this section, and they're talking about 3G, dude. Oh no. 3G was turned off on all carriers in last year.
Well,
like 3G isn't around anymore.
Okay, but last year is when the crime happened.
That doesn't matter. It's not like they turned it off the last day of last year. When they're like turning off a network, it's because it's not being used.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not like 3G has not effectively been used for over 5 years. So why they're talking about 3G, I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're just Googling and putting something together off of, somebody who doesn't know anything. Clearly they have some kind of vendetta. I mean, look at how much text is here. Like,
this is a classic sales tactic. They're trying to bury somebody in information to make whoever the reader is think that they're smart. It's a classic sales tactic. It's super manipulative, and these are the kinds of things that you got to watch out for. Just because something has a lot of information on it that you might not understand does not make it true, and you should not believe it. That should make you not believe it more. Anybody that's an expert can alter information into a more like layman's terms. You know what I mean?
Oh, and look, he mentioned the Rex Heuermann case. This is a case where you can look at it and it's exemplary for cell phone data. Yeah. It's incredible. It's incredible.
That's why I said it's off of our video.
That's so funny that they mention that. But you cannot take a case like that where it's exemplary. There's incredible coverage in New York. We're talking about Moscow, Idaho here, not New York.
Yeah.
When you look at the towers there compared to New York, it's not even comparable at all. Like, at all. It matters. It matters a lot. And, the terrain is much different. And that's going to determine how far and how well a tower covers an area. It's not 360 coverage. Like, you don't have a tower and it's perfect 360. If you look at the maps we pulled up in the video, it doesn't, to a person who doesn't understand it, it doesn't even make sense why one goes this way or one goes so far this way.
They made this up. This is not the real map. They literally made this up.
Oh.
This coverage doesn't come this far. I feel like this is a troll. I feel like they're trying to just see who would believe this.
No, I think they're like Googling
information.
So? I think they're Googling information
because this is fake. This tower on this map does not come down this far. And actually, this tower is, I think, a red tower, and this is the green one. I'm gonna have to pull it
that's
up.
The water tower. That's Theophilus from
I don't
my
think
memory.
That's Theophilus
or Philus, whatever.
I think that's the red one. I think it's over here.
I can't wait to see what they do in court with all this information. And, you know, in the investigations tab in our Discord, I posted an article from, I think it's the Idaho Statesman, and they had a cell tower expert come up, and he said, I really hope the prosecution does not bring this to court, because if they do, they're going to be wrong. Like, they can't lean on this. And that wasn't that media company is not dedicated to proving Kohberger innocent by any means at all. And it's the only honest article I've seen about the cell phone tower data other than us. It's the only other honest one that I've seen. So I think you guys should definitely give it a read. But it just, like we talked about with the geolocation, that's really going to be the only way that they're going to be able to prove anything like that. They have to look into his background app data and locating on his phone. And
I kind of feel like it's a troll.
Maybe. And hopefully
because that's like very wrong. And I feel like if they would have looked on that map, they couldn't come up with that. And that's why they put that yellow highlight on there. So it was probably done with the intention of trying to make me mad, I guess, or something. I don't know. Obviously, they haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, but the thing is that anybody who's covered it so far with the cell phone towers were not experts. They didn't know what to look for. No. Because if you look at a map on how many cell towers are there, it's going to look like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not.
People that work in the cell phone companies in certain positions are way more expert than a cast member is. 100%. I would bet every cent I have on that. They deal with it every single day in and day out, 1,000 times a day.
Plumbing asked, can you get my bill with Verizon lowered?
I suggest you leave Verizon, man. So Verizon is phenomenal for companies. They are not the expert when it comes to personal data plans. They don't have the best 5G coverage. The only time I suggest Verizon is if you're out in like in the sticks, you know, if you don't have a lot of people around you and you don't have a lot of towers. Like in Moscow, I would suggest Verizon. They have the deepest 4G and LTE network. Verizon still uses some 3G connections because they supply the governments and the fire stations and all these government contracts where AT&T and T-Mobile does not.
Interesting.
If you want a personal phone, I would go with T-Mobile personally. AT&T, so T-Mobile is like the expert on personal phones, and Verizon is like the expert on business, like large contracts, and AT&T is kind of in between the two. Oh, if you own your company, yeah, absolutely. That's probably why you're with them then.
Yeah. Kimmy, I'm also curious for your feedback on the cell tower data video. I don't know if you watched it, because Kimmy worked with Verizon for a long time too, and she would have seen those maps and that information similarly to you. So
yeah, Verizon does not provide 3G at all anymore. Oh, I thought they had some government contracts that supported like data cards, but I could totally be wrong on that one. I'm not 100% sure.
Jerry needs you to unlock her phone.
Yeah.
Not stolen.
All right, everybody. That is the show tonight. We appreciate you, all of you. Let me just post this on here for anybody that would like to join as a member. One thing I'm going to post on here too is the Discord. I think I just did that a minute ago, but for those of you that are new on here, Discord is completely free, you guys. And it's just like-minded people on there talking about true crime and hot topics and everything in between. But you do need that link to be able to get the invite to come in. And it doesn't cost you anything and will not cost you anything at all, ever. The only time money would be transferred on there is if you choose to use some add-on thing, but it does not cost anything ever, period, point blank. Join us on our Twitter, and oh man, that's awesome. We appreciate that, Sherlock.
Yeah, Sherlock Kendra, welcome.
Yes,
to
welcome
the riot.
to the Thought Riot. Hopefully tomorrow we will have our new tech. We will find out. And then I'm going to make sweet sound bites from Get a Clue. And yeah.
Yeah, I gotta keep an eye out at the studio all day long for the sweet new tech.
Yeah. So this is if you like the long form podcast, of course you can get the podcast, the Thought Riot True Crime and Criminal Culture podcast, and all of these are also on every platform, every podcast platform, everywhere, all at once. And it is the True Crime Talk Show, the one and only. So hop on there, give us a rating, and we love all the new members, appreciate all the new members, and hope you all have a great night. My name's Brendan.
I am Malia, and thanks for being here, guys. We will see you tomorrow night. Stay safe out there. Bye.